Nothing wrong with your television. Those are the Eagles wearing throwback uniforms dating back to their first game ever in Philadelphia. But the players inside have a sense of urgency this afternoon on a splendid day for football as we welcome you to Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia as the Philadelphia Eagles take on the surprising Detroit Lions. And welcome everyone to the city of brotherly love. I'm Dick Stockton along with Brian Baldinger. And who would have guessed that the Lions would be the 2-0 team and the Eagles would come in 0-2. And of course today, Kevin Jones, who is the Philadelphia native, is going to make his first appearance of the year at running back for the Lions. He will not start but will play. And Brian, what do you think will be the method of success for the Lions to upset the Eagles today?
Well, I think, Dick, that the Lions for the first time under offensive coordinator Mike Martz have an identity. They're a passing team. In fact, they're the #1 passing team in the league right now, and they feature 4 very talented wide receivers. The 4 Jets is what Rod Marinelli calls them. Roy Williams, McDonald, Furry, and Calvin Johnson. The ball gets sprayed around to these guys evenly. You really can't go after one guy. And for this Lions offense, they're going up against an Eagles secondary that is depleted. The 2 Pro Bowlers, Ryan Dawkins and Leader Shepard, neither one of them will play today. So the one thing is that when you throw the ball as much as the Lions do, a lot of bad things can happen when you pass it like that.
On the good side for the Eagles, of course, Brian Westbrook is going to play. Their tight end, L.J. Smith, is out. And, of course, around here, all roads come down to the quarterback. So how will Donovan McNabb, what's your feeling about him in today's game?
I've got a good feeling about him today, Dick. You know, I mean, there's a lot of pressure on him. He said that they didn't play well in week 1, then they pressed in week 2, and I think he's relaxed now. I think it started in the 4th quarter of the Monday night loss where he completed 14 passes. He got into a rhythm, and I think today the big thing is he's playing without that knee brace on his right knee. He feels like he's fully healthy, and he's ready to compete. I expect him to get the ball around to a lot of receivers today, and I expect Westbrook to give you a full day's work. Now, the one thing to watch today is the chess match between Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator of the Eagles, and the offensive coordinator of the Lions, Mike Martz. A lot of chess back and forth today.
So the stage is set. Coming up, it'll be the Lions against the Eagles.
You're watching Fox Sports, broadcasting in HD and presented by DirecTV.
Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Perfect weather conditions here in Philadelphia as you look at the skyline. As we're set to go here, the usual capacity and enthusiastic and sometimes critical crowd on hand. The Lions have won the toss, and David Akers will be kicking off. And back deep, Brian Calhoun, number 29, is the deep man, and Mike Furry in front of him. The Lions are looking for their first 3-0 start since the 1980 season. Beating the Vikings in overtime last week. Eagles losing on Monday to the Redskins, and it's going to be Calhoun at the 2. And Calhoun is tackled just shy of the 20-yard line by J.R. Reed, who is re-signed by the Eagles this week.
This is not a fluke of the Detroit Lions here. This offense is bona fide. They have legitimate weapons, and they've got a leader in Jon Kitna, who believes in his coaches, he believes in his players, and he's been kicked around for a long time in this league, but he knows what he's doing in this offense and loves it.
Had a concussion last week and came out of the game for 2 quarters. Calvin Johnson, the impressive rookie, starts, but it won't matter on this first play. And Broderick Bunkley, the second-year defensive tackle and the #1 pick from a year ago, gets a sack on Kitna and a loss of 6 yards.
Dick, in the spotlight today for the Detroit Lions and offense is Jon Kitna, who has come in completing over 70% of his passes. Kevin Jones, as we mentioned in the open, will play today, the late native of Philadelphia. We'll see his first action. And then the rookie, Calvin Johnson, number 81, in the slot right now, is big and talented.
Second down from inside the 15, and Kitna in trouble again. get it to Roy Williams, but that pass virtually out of bounds. That'll be third down, and Bunkley again putting big-time pressure on Kitna. And it's no secret, Jim Johnson is coming with the pass rush early.
Well, that's the key. Jon Kitna is very good and can complete 70% of his passes if he's on one spot. If he doesn't have to move, you got to make him move off his spot to change his delivery, to change his release.
And there's the chess game between Mike Martz and Jim Johnson. This is the 7th time they have matched wits in their careers. Third down and 17. Kitna on the run, and the pass batted away, and Darren Howard was right there. And not an impressive opening series for Mike Martz and the Lions, who have to punt.
Well, 3 straight incompletions, and a lot of it was they made Kitna move, and they put pressure on him. And I think the key today is obviously putting pressure on him, but how do you get to the pressure?
Nick Harris will be kicking, and Reno Mahe back deep for the Eagles. Could be good field position for Philadelphia. Mahe at the 33, and he is finally brought down at the 44-yard line. And so the Eagles going on offense. And right now, let's send it down to the third member of our team, Jennifer Hammond.
And you know, you mentioned that these uniforms look a little bit different today for the Eagles, Dick, and it's because they date back to 1933. They look like the Swedish colors, and they are. Swedes settled the area. William Penn decided that the team that came here would wear these. Since then, obviously, they've changed them to green and white, but they're wearing them today to honor the 75th anniversary.
And Jennifer, they were the official colors of the city of Philadelphia, blue and yellow. Of course, later on, they went to green.
They look nice together.
That's an opinion. First down 10 at the 44. And Donovan McNabb, as Brian mentioned, not wearing the knee brace, out of the shotgun on first down, gets a block and completes to Kevin Curtis. And Curtis close to the first down. Curtis is developing into one of his favorite receivers. He's wearing a sleeve as Donovan McNabb to keep that knee warm. And there it is.
It's a big step for anybody coming back from an ACL injury, from a knee reconstruction, is that first day when you let the brace go. Mentally, you're saying to yourself, enough about this injury, enough conversation about it. I'm healthy and ready to play, and he wants to show everybody that he's ready to do those things.
First down for the Eagles into Lion territory, and here's Brian Westbrook. And Westbrook picking up 3.5 yards on first down.
Nick, in the spotlight for the Eagles today on offense, it starts with Donovan McNabb. I thought he had a good fourth quarter, and I think it's time for him to parlay that into a full 4-quarter game today. Westbrook has been overused. They need to get somebody else involved. Who today, without L.J. Smith, the tight end, somebody else is going to have to step up and take the load of those two.
Well, Westbrook has not been overused as a running back. He's looking for a lot more carries than he's gotten. And McNabb has plenty of time, and this pass is caught by Curtis. He grabs it at the 25-yard line for 17 yards. So McNabb and Curtis hooking up twice, with Kenoy Kennedy making the tackle.
Well, here you see just a one-on-one coverage here on the outside with Kevin Curtis. Travis Fisher, he runs just a dig. All kinds of room involved. And the thing that's different about the Lions team versus what the Eagles saw the first 2 weeks, they won't see as much tight man-to-man coverage. The receivers should look more open.
And that receiver, Curtis, played 3 years for Mike Martz when he was in St. Louis. So a first down at the 25-yard line. And here's Westbrook again off the left side, finding running room. And Westbrook will go in for the touchdown. Five-yard run by Westbrook, and it's only the second touchdown scored by the Eagles in this young season.
But if there were any questions about the injured knee of Brian Westbrook coming into today, they just got answered. Didn't practice Wednesday and Thursday, but he looked good and fresh on Friday, and even better on that run.
Had the sore knee in the fourth quarter, came out for a play against the Redskins. Here is Akers with the extra point. So a big start for the Philadelphia Eagles defense. And on offense, here is Westbrook. with a 25-yard touchdown run.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. With Southwest Airlines' convenient nonstop flights, it's like having your own company plane.
Take a look at the touchdown run of Brian Westbrook and the blocking that got done for him, especially on this left side. The rookie Brent Selleck here at tight end. Excellent job there, sealing the line of scrimmage. Selleck gets up to the linebackers, and bam. Now this is Westbrook at his best. Nobody can cut off either 1 foot or 2 feet. To either way, quite like Brian Westbrook in this league right now.
Once again, Akers will be kicking off. A 4-play, 56-yard scoring drive, and McNabb hitting Curtis for his 2 completions. Brian Calhoun returning for the Lions. And he steps out of bounds at the 27-yard line. Well, Jon Kitna hope he gets a little better protection on this, the second series, with his team down 7-0. Lions are hoping this isn't a carbon copy of the 04 season. They began the year 2-0. They played the Eagles at home and got blown out 30-13. First down on the 26 for Jon Kitna and company. And Tatum Bell, and not much there.
In the spotlight for this Eagles defense today are a couple of players. Javon Curse is one. He's got 1 solo tackle the first 2 weeks. They need more pass rush and more playmaking ability from him. William James, the left cornerback, now taking over for Lito Shepherd. He had an interception on Monday night, but he needs to be active. He's going to get a lot of chances. And then Quentin Michael, really in the spotlight, taking over for Brian Dawkins as a starter today.
Well, Mike Martz would like to take advantage of it, but Jon Kitna is going to need some time, and maybe the running game can open it up. Here's Tatum Bell off the left side, and nothing there. And Gokong, the linebacker, coming up to make the play. Sheldon Brown also involved on the play, and a loss of 2.
Well, I don't think anybody fears the Lions running game right now, but they do fear a passing attack, even on 3rd and 13 here. And the Eagles are looking to really press these wide receivers today. Roy Williams, Mike Furry, get up on them and not let these guys get started down the field. But their leading receiver is in the slot, Sean McDonald.
3rd down and 13. Pressure again on Kitna. Making the catch, however, is Roy Williams in stride. And he's got 2 players to beat. And finally brought down at about the 25-yard line and inside a 55-yard catch and run. And Joselio Hansen prevented the touchdown as Kitna got hit as he threw.
Here's Roy Williams going to be dragging across the formation here. This is tight man-to-man now. Sheldon Brown on the coverage. Kitna got hit on the play, but this is what is so dangerous about these receivers, what they're capable of doing after the catch. For 2 years now, Jon Kitna has been telling everybody Roy Williams is the best receiver in football.
Caught a touchdown pass last week against the Vikings and had 111 yards. And a first down, and the quick pass down the middle to Sean McDonald, and McDonald stopped from scoring, and that was another touchdown saving tackle, this time by William James. So 21 yards, and just in a blink, the Lions will have 1st and goal inside the 5.
It's not a fluke that this is the #1 passing offense in football. I mean, Sean McDonald was brought in here from St. Louis. Mike Martz coached him there, raised him there. He's the 4th wide receiver now, but he leads this team in receptions.
Kevin Jones into the game for the first time. Hasn't played since last December, and he gets the call, and Jones scores. And what a feeling. Kevin Jones scoring the touchdown, a native of Chester, Pennsylvania. And his father, Thomas, was a construction foreman in the building of Lincoln Financial Field, and he scores for the Lions.
Runs right behind Woody and Raiola here in the middle. Good lead block. Little power football. What a feeling. Kevin Jones has not carried a football since last year, but his first carry, the Cardinal O'Hara alumni, scores on his first carry of the season.
Jason Hansen for the extra point. And Hansen, who kicked the game-winning field goal in overtime last week. Game is tied. Kevin Jones as the Lions come back big.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by FedEx. Go air, go ground, go football. By Nissan, who invites you to shift the way you move through the world. By State Farm, great service, great rates. Nobody takes care of you like State Farm. And by Budweiser Select, exceptional taste, never filling. Step up to Select.
Crowd quieted here in Philadelphia as the Lions come back to tie it up in spectacular fashion. How about the Lions? Minus 10 yards in the first 5 plays, and then they get 77 on the next 3.
Well, that's what's different about the Lions this year is no matter what the score is, they can come back. Probably as good as any team in this game right now.
Boy, that's a huge advantage for any team. Jason Hanson on the kickoff and Carell Buckhalter on the return for the Eagles. And he is hit about the 23-yard line by Casey Fitzsimmons. So Donovan McNabb and the Eagles offense go back to work when we come back. And we're back here in Philadelphia. The Lions and the Eagles tied at 7-7, and Philadelphia will start from the 23-yard line. 75th season of the Eagles in Philadelphia. And who knows, if they get the job done today, you may see these uniforms a few more times before it's over.
Matt doesn't want to see him anymore.
That's for sure. Here is Westbrook, who scored the touchdown, and he tests the middle of the line and picks up nearly 4 yards.
You know, we were talking to Brian Westbrook on Friday. We were asking about his knee and his health, and didn't practice on Wednesday and Thursday. They practiced on Friday, and he carried and touched the ball 51 times the first 2 weeks. And people allow, you know, you gotta pace him a little bit more, but he's so good. It's so hard not to give him the ball every play, and that's something that the Eagles offense are constantly fighting.
He has accounted, Brian, for 47% of the Eagles' attack so far this year.
And that's too much. The ball's got to get spread around to other players.
Second down and 7. On the designed rollout is McNabb. And smartly throws it away. He knew he was in trouble and threw it away. Well, the Lions defense will be in the spotlight today against McNabb and this good offense for Philadelphia.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, it starts up front with Shaun Rogers, who is one of the most disruptive forces in all of football. You got to block him every play. Ernie Sims, in his second year right now, the weak side linebacker, is a tackling machine. Speed, speed, speed. And then Gerald Alexander has come in as a rookie to start to take over for Daniel Bullock, who's out for the season with an injury.
Eagles way down there, only 3 for 21 on third down conversions. They need 7 yards as the Lions come up to the line out of the shotgun, and here comes the safety blitz. And McNabb beats it with a pass to Reggie Brown, and they're going to blow it dead at the 45-yard line, a gain of 19. So he got rid of the ball in a hurry and a pickup of 19.
And it's just a pinpoint pass. I mean, the Lions came with some pressure. It was well picked up, good protection. And maybe he throws the ball a little bit differently without that brace, Dick, because he stepped into that throw, got his hips into it, and it got exactly where he wanted to get it to.
What does it mean for him not to have the brace as far as the psychological aspect?
That the bad thing that happened to him last year against Tennessee is over. I've cut the cord. It's time to go play now.
First down at the Eagles 45 in a 7-7 game. Play fake. Here's pressure coming from the outside. And McNabb is going to run with it, and unlike past years, will gingerly step out of bounds as he gets into Detroit territory after picking up 6.
Yeah, you know, we were talking to the head coach of the Lions, Rod Marinelli, about Donovan McNabb if he looks different.
And there's a flag down, too.
Yeah. He looks different to him, and he said no. He said he may not have the plays down the field with his legs he once did, but he can still scramble and buy time like he used to.
While the quarterback was in the pocket, illegal contact, defense. Number 53, that 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down.
Gene Steratore, the referee, and Paris Lennon committing the foul.
Just watch Donovan here. I mean, you know, he avoids the rush on the backside of Corey Smith. Now he's able to get away. This looks like the old Donovan McNabb just in a retro uniform.
In an old uniform, an old quarterback in an old uniform.
He said, you know, retro, I don't mind. He goes, why not Harold Carmichael's era, 1978,
Those are
1980.
Nice. Kelly Green. First down on the 44, and the good opening there to Brian Westbrook. They opened up a great hole there. And And a pickup of 15 yards and a first down. And right now for a game break, let's check in with Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles.
All right, Dick. 49ers at the Steelers. Allen Rossum takes the kickoff 98 yards. That was after the 49ers had scored a field goal to take the lead. That lead didn't last long. It's 7-3 Pittsburgh. Back to Dick and Baldy.
Well, that guy was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles, Allen Rossum, out of Notre Dame a little over 10 years ago. Still doing it in this league.
Westbrook is lined up at the top of your picture as a wide receiver. And coming in motion, the hand up to Terrell Buckholter. Buckholter did not carry at all last week, and he gets 3 yards on first down here as the Eagles threaten again. It's a fast-moving and a crisp offensive game we're seeing so far.
But you know, Buckholter carried at that time, but Brian Westbrook went in motion. And even though he didn't get the ball, he still ran 40 yards at full speed. So even when they try to give him a rest, they're still using him as a decoy because he's just that skilled where everybody's game plan to stop the Eagles, stop Westbrook first.
Second down and 7. And a quick pass out to Kevin Curtis. Tried the second effort. You can see where he is stopped about a yard shy of the first down at the 20. And the Eagles get 6 more yards and the first catch of this first quarter by Kevin Curtis.
Interesting, I was talking to Kevin Curtis before the game, and he came into the league with Mike Martz in St. Louis. He learned how to play wide receiver from Mike Martz. He said nobody could be harder on you day in, day out, play in, play out than Mike Martz. He said it's not quite so hard in Philadelphia, but the way that you have to practice is the same, high tempo.
Third down and 1, and the handoff to Thomas Tapeh. And Tapeh picking up more than enough for the first down. And now the helmets are down there, and one of the Lions has lost his hat, and it looks like Dwayne White, one of the defensive linemen.
Now, you always wonder when a defensive lineman loses his helmet, like how he lost it. Did it get pulled off? Did it get snapped off? And then somebody hit him after the play, but I don't see any flags on the field right now.
So no penalties there. And of course, if you take it off, then you're guilty of a penalty.
Yeah, it he didn't take it off. It got ripped off. See, I mean, there's
John Runyon with a little shove.
Yeah, Runyon there just gave him a ball to the neck.
And here is the flip to Westbrook off the outside. And Westbrook driving. And he is knocked out of bounds at about the 5-yard line by Gerald Alexander. So Westbrook once again has been a key feature of this Eagle offense, and they threaten as we have 4:14 left in the first.
You know, it was interesting. Brian Westbrook went to practice on Friday after not practicing Wednesday and Thursday, and he said, practice is good for me. It loosens up my knee. It actually makes it feel better to get out there and work it. And I would say what he's done already in this game is that is all paying off. Having been good in the red zone, it's an area where they bogged down in the first 2 weeks.
First and goal at the 5, and you can see the Eagles have not been successful in the red zone. Here's Westbrook. Loses the ball. Touchdown. He was over. The ball crossed the plane, so it is no fumble. Westbrook gets the touchdown. Just barely, I might add.
Well, it was ruled a touchdown. Now, it is a challengeable call. We'll take a look here from our slash camera from the corner. Good block by Thomas Tapeh, sealing it.
Kennedy was the first to hit him, and then Paris Lennon came over and knocked the ball away. And the question is, did it break the plane?
I would say right there that it is over the plane. And that's how it was ruled. Now, I expect a challenge.
They've got one. They got one, and this is an obvious one. Rod Marinelli is challenging the ruling on the field.
Well, it's huge. It's huge because Detroit came up with the ball. Now, when it's ruled a touchdown, the evidence has to go against that ball not crossing the plane before it came out, Dick.
Detroit is challenging the ruling on the field of a touchdown.
And we're going to take a break as the Eagles, at this point, lead it 13-7. We'll see. Back here in Philadelphia, Rod Marinelli challenging the ruling on the field that Westbrook carried the ball that crossed the plane before he fumbled it. And remember, it has to be indisputable visual evidence for the call to be changed and the ruling on the field. It is close, though, Brian.
It's very close. I don't think the one angle we have of it, Dick, really can tell you whether he was crossed the plane of the goal line or not. You don't know right there. But if you don't know, then you can't change it. And Gene Steratore, our referee today, has already told us that the new monitors that they're in looking at are in high definition. He said it's an unbelievable picture. They can see things better than they've ever seen them before. And I think when he looks at that shot, I don't know how you can rule against what it was ruled as a touchdown.
Well, here he comes.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. It is a touchdown. The ball broke the plane. Detroit will be charged with its first timeout.
It was a good challenge, and it was a good ruling when Steratore looked at the replay. They didn't have enough to change it, and so Brian Westbrook with his second touchdown of the game. And the Eagles, who had not scored in the first quarter, now trying to get their 14th point. David Akers. And the Eagles lead it 14-7 over the Detroit Lions. Already a full day for Mr. Westbrook. Well, the baseball playoff race heating up, and the Phillies right in the middle of it. Cubs in the Reds Saturday. Some will see the Nationals take on the Phillies. Padres squaring off against the Brewers. Every game having playoff implications, and the Phillies are a red-hot team. Coverage begins at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, in high definition only on Fox. Check your local listings for the game and start time in your area. So after a Lion punt to begin the game, we've had 3 straight touchdown drives, and now David Akers will be kicking off for the 3rd time, and Brian Calhoun is back deep for Detroit. Calhoun at the 1. Gets hit once, and it gets the job done as Matt McCoy slows him down, and a 24-yard return. So here comes John Kitna, who's completed 2 of 4 for 75 yards. And said it was a miracle that he was able to come back last week. And the key for those people that wonder about concussions is that he never lost consciousness. They called it a mild concussion. He passed all the tests, and they gave him an extra quarter to come back. So he was hurt early in the 2nd, and he came back in the 4th.
Well, he threw a touchdown pass in between there and doesn't remember anything about it.
First down at the 25. Kitna getting pressure again, and the screen pass up the middle goes to no one in particular.
Kevin Jones, who has scored the 1 touchdown for Detroit today, has been out since last season, middle of last season, with a Liz Frank injury. And this is the sleeve that he wore today, a compression sleeve. Wore it on the flight yesterday so that when you travel it doesn't swell. Just trying to keep it as normal as possible. Getting ready for his 2007 debut this afternoon.
2nd down and 10. Getting his pass. They're trying to go to Roy Williams, but the Eagles are there, and it'll bring up 3rd down. And for a game break, let's check in again with Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles.
All right, Dick, Chargers and Packers, how pretty is this pass? Phillip Rivers finds Vincent Jackson, and the Chargers find a quick 7-3 lead over the Pack. Back to Dick and Baldy.
You know, Dick, 10 teams came into today 0-2. Packers, one of those surprising 2-0 teams. 10 with 2-0, and San Diego trying to get one up in Lambeau.
3rd down and 10, and there's the slant. Flag is down as it looked like Sean McDonald stopped his route, and the penalty flag thrown at the 26.
Illegal formation. Offense number 72 was not lined up on the line of scrimmage. The penalty is declined. 4th down.
So the Lions will have to kick as George Foster.
Well, all that means is that the wide receiver didn't cover up the tackle. You've got to cover up the line of scrimmage, and so it wasn't on George Foster, it was on a receiver that wasn't on the line of scrimmage. I'm sure that's what Jon Kitna is upset about.
So Nick Harris will be kicking, and Reno Mahe back deep. Mahe catches it at the 22 and is written out of bounds at the 32-yard line by Casey Fitzsimmons. 3:13 remaining in the first, and the Eagles in front of the Lions 14-7. And Donovan McNabb, he knows that people have been talking on the outside. He says, look, it's the story of my career here. And of course, the big latest story was on the television show in which he said that African-American quarterbacks get criticized a little more than the white quarterbacks and have to do more. And of course, that raised a furor all around the league.
And I said to him, will it change if you win a Super Bowl in Philadelphia? And he said he didn't think so. And I do believe that it would change. But the perception, the way that people accept him, not only just accepted, but memorialized here in Philadelphia forever.
From the 32, play action on 1st down. McNabb is going deep. And there is Curtis, and will go in for the touchdown. You get the feeling, and Donovan McNabb told us that Kevin Curtis developing into a kind of comfortable receiver for him, and is he ever? 68 yards for the score.
He said somebody else had to step up for this offense today, and that's one way to step up. The deep balls have been there this year. They have missed by a little, but Andy Reid said if you miss by a little, you miss by a lot. That one was right on target.
And it is now 20-7, and David Akers on to kick the extra point for the Eagles. And the kick is good. So Donovan McNabb coming back. 2 touchdowns by Westbrook, and now this one.
Well, there's Curtis right at the end, working on Stanley Wilson. A little double move there. The safety's bit on the dig route over the middle. Gerald Alexander, number 42, went on the underneath route. They got exactly what they wanted. They wanted Stanley Wilson isolated. Nice little fake to the outside. Safety bites. Just lay it up there. Just don't mess it up. Just put some air under the ball. Let their fastest receiver go get it.
Well, now it'll be interesting to see after one of his former players, Mike Martz, going to work again. One play, 68 yards for the score, and the Eagles couldn't ask for more. They've had the ball 3 times, and they have scored 3 touchdowns. And David Akers will kick off again. 21-7 here in the first quarter, and still 3:04 remaining.
Well, we're looking at a picture there of the defensive line, Corey Redding and Sean Rogers, and if you get those guys blocked in the middle, like they did in the last throw, McNabb will have vision and time to make the deep throw. I don't think you can ever count out this Detroit Lion offense to make up 2 touchdowns, especially when we're still in the first quarter.
And they haven't really been able to take advantage of the secondary, the depleted secondary the Eagles have. Jim Johnson has kind of disguised that pretty well. But we'll see what happens here. Brian Calhoun returning the kick from the 4. And a good return by Calhoun. And gets beyond the 30, almost to the 35-yard line. Well, are you surprised that the Eagles, who really had the injuries on defense, and we know what Mike Martz can do, have really taken away the offensive game from Detroit?
Well, you know, this is a game it's long. I mean, you look at what they're doing, and then you start to make some adjustments. And one thing Jon Kitna said to us, he said, there's always an answer for everything that the defense does to us. And maybe they'll have the answer here on this drive.
From the 35, Kevin Jones, who scored the touchdown, going outside. And he is tackled hard and picking up maybe 2 with Takeo Spikes on the pursuit.
Mike Martz has come in, and we visited with Mike for about an hour yesterday, and you can never not come away and learn something about the passing game or football when you talk to Mike Martz. And he is supremely confident in what this offense is capable of doing.
And glad to be in Detroit. He said he was going to take a year or more off, and he says, I just wanted to fade away, but Brad Marinelli talked him into it, and he's glad he did. Pass is caught by Roy Williams and tackled immediately at the 41-yard line. They'll be shy by about 3.5 yards, thanks to Sheldon Brown, and a gain of 6.
You know, Dick, you've mentioned the depleted secondary of the Eagles, and I guess what you worry about when you lose a guy like Brian Dawkins, you lose the heart of the defense. But the key is when you make a catch, like Roy Williams did, you got to tackle the catch. What these guys are so dangerous at is what they do after the catch. That play right there, they stop the play from going any further.
And you know the Eagles are aware of making that tackle. So it's 3rd down and 3. And Kitna stepping up, and the pass intended for Williams. There was some contact out there at the 45, but no flags are down. And it was Sheldon Brown who was playing Roy Williams awfully tough. 4th down and another punting situation.
Well, the game plan for the Eagles in the secondary today is whoever is battling these receivers, not let these guys get off the line of scrimmage. Get your hands on them. So Roy Williams right there, I mean, that's just missed time. I mean, Sheldon Brown is shadowing him, but he never got back to the spot where Kitna was throwing.
So Nick Harris on again. Mahe with the fair catch. It bounces, and when it bounces like that, sometimes it can bounce off an Eagle, and it's a free ball. It'll be Philadelphia's ball, and they'll mark it at about the 22-yard line.
Well, I think the Eagles defense has to feel great about what they've been able to do. Now, they've kept Detroit on 3 of the 4 possessions right now and limited them to no first downs. You know, just the one drive right now, a couple of plays. And
well, Donovan McNabb, while the defense is doing the job, look what the offense is doing, and that's a pretty big chunk of yards. 56, 77, and 68 for their 3 scores.
And what was missing from this Eagle offense in the first 2 losses was the big play. They only had 2 plays on offense over 20 yards in the passing game. Already they've eclipsed that this afternoon.
First down at the 22, and Brian Westbrook and Correll Buckholter are both in the lineup. McNabb has time, drills it, and the pass caught by Curtis at the 40, and Kevin Curtis gets it out to the 45-yard line, a 23-yard gain. So Curtis has caught 5 passes for about 126 yards and a score.
Watch the linebackers here in this play action. Watch what they do. See, they all step up. Now watch the opening of where this pass comes. Right where the linebackers could be if it wasn't such a good play action and honoring Brian Westbrook.
And you talked about who's going to step up in this game offensively, and Kevin Curtis has been the guy for the Eagles. First down as we near a minute remaining in the first quarter. The ball at the 45, and there's McNabb, and the pass is caught. Curtis again. That's 6 receptions in this first quarter for Kevin Curtis, and Donovan McNabb is getting great protection from the offensive line.
Donovan told us that he likes Kevin Curtis. You know, he came down to Arizona, worked out with him in the offseason. In fact, this past Tuesday, after the Monday night game, they went into the bubble, into practice facility. They worked on timing and on routes together because they thought they weren't very far away. And today, it looks like all that work is beginning to pay off.
Brian, that's got to pay off when you spend that extra time together.
It's like in a good relationship. You know, the good ones spend time with each other.
Well, we're going to have to do that ourselves. Second down and 2, and the swing pass out to Westbrook. And Westbrook fighting his way, has a first down and more, and gets to the 39 of the Lions, gaining 8 yards, and the clock stopping with 22 seconds.
You know, the Lions are going up against an offensive line today that is now starting their 19th straight game together, going back to last season. This is a very healthy and familiar group, and right now, protection-wise, and really all phases of the game, they really can't play any better together than they are.
This crowd has to love it. I mean, they're getting a day full of sunshine. They're seeing some strange-looking uniforms, and the Eagles have a great quarter. That is the end of the first quarter with the score. The Eagles 21 and the Lions 7. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages. Start of the second quarter, the Eagles lead the Lions 21-7. Is anyone happier than the people manning that booth? That's the McNabb family. And they've got to be delighted with what Donovan has done in his first quarter. 1st and 10 for Philadelphia. Westbrook. And for a game break, let's return to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles.
All right, Dick, the Houston Texans fighting Indy hard, but check this run out by Addae, or should we say a leap. Joseph Addae leapfrogs the Colts into the lead. It's 14-10. Dick and Baldy?
All right, thank you very much, Kurt. And Teddy Lehman has gone in for Paris Lennon at middle linebacker for the Lions. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Until he gets to the 11. A 24-yard gain by Terrell Buckholder.
Well, they're just pounding the left side right here. The Lions actually are in a run-stopping defense. They're in a bare defense there that Buddy Ryan made famous, where they cover up the center and the 2 guards, and they just split them. Jamal Jackson gets up on the linebacker. They run by Corey Redding there. And so a defense designed to stop the run, they just got creased.
104 yards rushing by the Eagles, 0 for the Lions. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. And here is Westbrook, and not this time. Loss on the play by about a yard. Will bring up 2nd down and 11. Corey Smith made the play with Teddy Lehman, who just came in.
What a luxury it is to have an offensive line like this. And the longest streak in the league right now of starters. Thomas and Herremans. Jackson, Sean Andrews missed most of preseason with a foot injury, and of course John Runyon over there. Those guys, Runyon and Thomas, have started over 100 games together. So they know all the adjustments that you got to make. They've seen everything in this league over the years, and they're handling this line right now. And if you do that, you're going to have success against the Lions.
Big game pitch. Touchdown, Curtis. 2nd of the game. And a player shaken up. Donovan McNabb took a hit and has to be helped up by Thomas DePay. A 12-yard touchdown pass, but the concern right now is on McNabb.
Beautiful play-action fake to Westbrook. And Dwayne White, that should have been a penalty there, as he just crushed him in the back after he released the ball. But you see he's grabbing his back, though. I mean, that was a shot to the back, and I think
little concern up there now.
Well, his mom, Wilma, there just gave the thumbs up like, yeah, he's okay.
So he took a shot there, and David Akers on for the extra point once again. And 4th extra point of this first half, and the Eagles have opened up a 28-7 lead over the Lions, doing what they want at will against the visiting Detroiters.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Lowe's. For all your home improvement needs, Lowe's. Let's build something together. By the new AT&T, your world delivered. By Energizer E-Squared Lithium, keep going. And by GM's OnStar. Get the OnStar treatment no matter who you are on most GM vehicles for GM drivers.
Do you think Westbrook is a little bit of a magnet for this offense? Watch everybody bite on this fake here of Detroit. Everybody goes to Westbrook. Great play action fake. And now down here, you got one-on-one coverage with Curtis. I mean, I think Andy Reid gets criticized for not being a good enough play caller. Between him and Marty Morningweg there, the former Lion coach, that was great play action.
Akers kicking off, and Calhoun this time 3 yards in the end zone, and they'll take it out of the 20 for a touchback. So McNabb has thrown 2 touchdown passes to Kevin Curtis, and Brian Westbrook has run for a pair. Eagles up 28-7, but this October baseball's best will move on to the postseason for a month of unscripted, thrilling, and gut-wrenching moments to see which team will be crowned a champion. Coverage of baseball's postseason begins October 12th with the ALCS, followed by the World Series only on Fox. From the 20-yard line and out of the shotgun, Jon Kitna loses the time and getting in from behind. Number 75, Jaquay Thomas, and his second time he's gotten to the quarterback in the season.
That's because the receivers didn't get open. And that is a great testament to the coverage right now of William James there, Caselio Hansen, the guys out there covering these Greyhounds at receiver for the Lions. Caselio Hansen here has played great to this point.
Second down and 10. Sean McDonald on the left was in motion, and Kitna lets it go, and the pass intended for McDonald, but just past his outstretched lead. But he had beaten the defender, brings up third down.
Doesn't look like there's any rhythm to this offense right now. When you're three and out like they have been on 3 of the first 4 possessions, it's very difficult to get into a rhythm. And when your quarterback is getting hit like that, which should have been penalized because it went right to Jon Kitna's head, somehow that got missed. That throws you off.
Meanwhile, Donovan McNabb was not injured. Remember, he came off the field, hit in the back, but he's all right. Third down and 10, and here comes pressure by the Eagles. And Kitna goes down inside the 10. Quinton Michael starting in place of the leader of the defense, Brian Dawkins, and the Lions will lose 13.
Well, Quinton Michael is going to be coming right from the safety position through that gap, coming after Kitna. So he comes from depth. You're not really sure if he's coming. The running back missed him. Tatum Bell had a chance to get him, but he came so fast he was a blur past him. And right now, when Jon Kitna isn't comfortable standing on his spot, those are the bad plays that result.
Third sack of the game by the Eagles, who have been dominating on both sides of the ball. Reno Mahe in Lion territory, and he is brought down at the 43-yard line. So this has been a total domination game by the Philadelphia Eagles in their throwback uniforms when they came to Philly 75 years ago. Eagles lead 28-7, and they got the ball in Lion territory. Brian Dawkins may not be playing, but he's the
water boy.
Yeah, he's getting stuff done today.
Yeah. You go from the Pro Bowl spiritual leader of this defense to being a water boy and a towel boy.
You know, he's not bad at that either.
He looked good. He didn't drop it. No, it's very good.
First down at the 43-yard line of the Lions. Donovan McNabb, 9 of 10 so far for 171 yards and 2 touchdown passes. Again has time. Again going deep, and wide open is Kevin Curtis, who walks in. And you wonder, when are the Lions going to cover him? 43 yards that time. And early in the second quarter, the Eagles are on the verge of having scored 35 points.
Well, watch the breakdown in coverage. I mean, the Eagles ran a trail route there, and Sims, the corner, or Keith Smith, the corner, they both been on the underneath route, and the breakdowns right now, I don't know if Rod Marinelli can count them.
And 2 of the touchdowns are one-play shots. One-play shots. That was 43 yards, and the extra point is good, and the Eagles lead 35-7. And less than 4 minutes gone by in the second quarter.
You know, McNabb did not like these uniforms, but I think he'll like it now. And the question was today, who would step up for the Eagles? And it's clear right now who the mystery guy is. It's Kevin Curtis. And maybe he wants to show up his old coach Mike Martz, but they've gotten the ball to him in every different way. On the hitch routes, on the underneath comebacks, on the big plays. 68 yards, the big plays of 43 yards. Right now, the Lions have no answer for Kevin Curtis.
And they have no answer in getting to Donovan McNabb, who has had all day to throw. To Curtis, has 8 catches for 187 yards and 3 TDs. So a career game already for Curtis, and we're early in the second.
You know, it's interesting because you watch Donovan McNabb on Monday night in the fourth quarter. And although, you know, he missed a play at the goal line and they didn't win the game, you saw McNabb come back. You saw the completions, the ball spread around to a lot of receivers. And I think everybody inside the organization was saying, I think Mac is back. I think Donovan is back. You could feel it, and now today he's showing it.
And you know, he always does that, doesn't he? I mean, just when you're ready to put dirt on him, he's out there to show you something else. That's how determined he is. And the kick sails out of the end zone for a touchback. Well, tomorrow, after an all-new prison break, don't miss the new action drama that everyone is talking about, K-Ville. All new tomorrow at 9, 8 Central, only on Fox.
If you want to run a wide-open offense the way Detroit does, you've got to protect your quarterback. The key is on the offensive line, and today they're getting beat. They're getting beat at the snap. And then the thing I think that's surprising is the receivers aren't winning as well. But against a depleted secondary, they're not getting open for Kitna to get them the ball.
Well, they're not getting time. The offensive line, the story here, Eagles are doing it, Lions are not. And on first down, pass is caught. And a first down, Calvin Johnson. And that'll be his first catch of the game, the second overall pick in the draft from Georgia Tech. And he has caught 2 TD passes in 2 games.
See, he's going out right now. He's really been featured when they come in with 4 wide receivers. He's a rookie learning a difficult offense, and so he's not out there every play yet. But as he learns more, he'll get more and more playing time.
19-yard gain and a first down on the Lion 39. Kitna has an open man, and it's Kevin Jones out of the backfield. And he is out of bounds in Eagle territory after he picks up 16.
Well, you can see how Philadelphia has dominated everything in this game right now. I mean, 317 yards of offense. We're not halfway through the second quarter. This could be the greatest day that Donovan McNabb and his offense has ever had. And then when you're keeping the defense on the field as long as they have, they do get tired.
And 2 of their touchdowns, 1 play. They had a 7-play drive and a 10-play drive. And now the Lions call.
Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty, first down.
So a tough day so far for Rod Marinelli and George Foster, who came over in a trade from the Broncos. 5 yards, false start.
Well, the other upgrade on the offensive line was the left guard, Edwin Mulitalo, from the Baltimore Ravens. In fact, both guards, Woody and Mulitalo, have played on Super Bowl champion teams.
First down and 15. They were happy with the offensive line, but today has been a different story. And the pass caught at the 45 by Mike Furry, his first catch of the game. And another former Ram. And he gets about 5.5.
If you're either team right now, the worst thing you can do is look at the scoreboard. I mean, you have to just play right now. Defensively, you can't say we're up 4 touchdowns. Let's just keep it in front of us, because then you start giving up completions. And offensively, you're looking for a rhythm.
James matched up against Furry, and Kitna loses the ball. And he recovers his own fumble, covers up. And that time, Trent Cole came in and knocked it away.
It's Trent Cole working against Jeff Backus, and the strength of Trent Cole is how low he can get. And the hardest thing for an offensive tackle in this league is to get as low as guys that get down like that. It's hard for them to bend their knees and get in front of them. Trent Cole has that ability.
4th sack of the game by the Eagle defense. Loss of 5. Brings up 3rd down and 15. And there's Kitna, and going deep for Calvin Johnson. And Calvin Johnson makes the catch. Double cover downfield at the 11-yard line, and Calvin Johnson slow getting up. Sheldon Brown and Quentin Michael were all over him, and what a catch.
Well, they squeeze this as well as you can. Calvin Johnson gets inside Sheldon Brown, and that's why he was the most feared receiver coming out of college, the best receiver, his ability to go up and really just grab the ball like that.
How about the concentration there?
Yeah.
About 39 of 40 yards as they tend to Calvin Johnson. And the Lions threatening, coming back somewhat. Rod Marinelli, star rookie, injured on the other side of the field, but notice how Jason Avant and Donovan McNabb over there, and many of the Eagles as well, to see how Calvin Johnson is doing, and this is great to see this.
Well, concern on both sides. Coaching staffs. I mean, Andy Reid is over there. The defensive staff. I think everybody that had a chance to scout Calvin Johnson during that process in the spring coming out of Georgia Tech realized what kind of a great kid this is, what kind of a great player he's going to be.
Jon Kitna said he's everything they said physically, but he says he is a humble guy. He takes teaching well, and yet he's not passive. So there you see being helped off the field.
Watch this. He never was able to break his fall because he's concentrating on the ball. He squeezes it. He falls right on the right side of his back. And then in addition to that, his head whiplashed up against the turf.
And now walking off more assuredly. So we'll get a report on Calvin Johnson, who made a spectacular catch right near the sideline with two defenders right there. Had great concentration to hold on to the ball. So now the Lions back to work, have a first down and 10 on the Eagle 11. Roy Williams to the top of your picture. Kitna has some time, and Williams could not hold on to the ball, and he had a chance to make that catch.
You know what happened? The ball was dying, Dick, and Roy was trying to score. And so he was falling away from a ball that was dying. Watch Roy. He wants to turn this thing in to a touchdown there, and he forgot about concentrating on the football first before he started turning his body.
Well, there was an opportunity because he had no really defender.
No, nobody around it, but catch the ball first before you do anything else with it.
Second down and 10. Kitna 7 for 15. Kitna drills it, caught by Sean McDonald. And McDonald gets a touchdown, Lions.
So that's a good player. He caught that ball, Dick, and immediately turned north-south right to the goal line and split two defenders to squeeze that ball across the goal line.
Well, Kitna hits McDonald for 11 yards. Second touchdown of the game for Detroit.
See that they're running that bunch formation, and the two outside guys of the bunch went deep, taking the coverage with them. McDonald just slipped in behind him.
And he has more receiving yards after 2 weeks plus than he did all of last year. So he's got a chance to make this a banner campaign, and Jason Hanson on for the extra point. And the Eagle lead now is 35-14.
Jon Kitna was raving. I mean, a lot of people talking about Calvin Johnson and the #2 pick in the draft. Jon Kitna couldn't stop talking about Sean McDonald enough last night.
Came in as the leading receiver for the Lions. 8 plays and 80 yards, and the 39-yard catch by Calvin Johnson, who was shaken up, set it all up. Well, Fox's football coverage doesn't end when the games are over. Afterwards, you got to stick around for the OT, where Kurt, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy bring you exclusive interviews, extended highlights, and a look ahead to next week's action. The OT, presented by Lowe's, coming up after the late games, only on Fox. And now Calvin Johnson is going to ride into the locker room.
He looked like he was in more pain sitting down, getting on that cart, getting carried into the locker room than he was just walking. He'll go in there and x-ray that back right now, Dick, and just see if there's anything broken or if it's just going to be a deep bruise.
So 2 scary injuries in 2 weeks for the Lions. Kitna last week with the mild concussion, and now Calvin Johnson leading. Jason Hanson to kick off for Detroit with 8:45 remaining in the first half. Terrell Buckhalter, 4 yards in the end zone, runs it out. And not letting go from behind, Buckhalter brings it out to the 22 is Eric Frampton. So Donovan McNabb goes back to work. 5 possessions, 5 touchdowns today for the Philadelphia Eagles. Brian Westbrook scoring on 2 runs, and McNabb hitting Kevin Curtis for 3 scores.
It's amazing that the Eagles could struggle as badly as they did the first 2 weeks and come out and be absolutely perfect here in the first half of this game.
And there was some question as to what kind
On a
of
short
Eagle
week.
team would
On a short weekend, you play Monday night, and here you are on
show up.
Sunday.
First down on the 22. Play fake. And the screen pass to Westbrook. Westbrook to the 50. Westbrook. And the way he picks his way with blockers in front and sometimes without. And Brian Westbrook getting 46 yards before Alexander stops him at the 31.
Well, he looks like a Ferrari in traffic is what you're saying here. I mean, nobody feels the screen on the defensive line. Now, look at Sean Andrews out front, Jamal Jackson up front. And that's what he's so good at, just setting his blockers up. You know, and he looks like he's the smoothest guy out there, under control all the way, letting the guys do their work. And he just has that ability to shift gears when he has to.
Has 10 touches in the game thus far and gets a breather as Buckhalter comes in for it. It'll be a first down for the Eagles on the line 31. Timeout, Philadelphia. With exactly 8 minutes remaining in the first half as we send it down to Jennifer Hammond.
Well, Dick and Brian, Calvin Johnson has been taken inside to the Lions locker room. They will further evaluate. It is a back injury, but at this point in time, his return is questionable.
All right, Jennifer, thank you very much. So Calvin Johnson, a lot of people were wondering whether Tampa Bay would pick up Johnson, and they needed a receiver, they felt, and the Lions are happy once again.
Or if the Lions would take another receiver with a top flight pick. But I think Matt Millen, who made the selection, the president of the Detroit Lions, said that we couldn't, you know, you have to take the best player. And really, they've struck gold on 2 of them, on Roy Williams and on Calvin Johnson, and then, you know, Charlie Rogers and Mike Williams, they didn't work out.
I think there's a law in the state of Michigan that the Detroit Lions have to draft the wide receiver on the first pick.
Well, you don't go wrong when you're drafting Roy Williams and Cal Johnson.
We don't have to touch on some of the others. First down at the 31 and up the middle. Pass caught by Matt Schobel. Remember, L.J. Smith is out. Procedure on the groin after having the sports hernia. That's a big loss for the Eagles. So Matt Schobel and Brent Selleck, the rookie tight end, manning that position as the Eagles get 10.
Well, right now, when I watch this, the Lion defense, they haven't been able to take anything away. And as a defense, when you put up a game plan, all right, you're trying to take something away and force the team to do something else. And to this point, the Lions defense hasn't taken anything away.
Ernie Sims may be shaken up. There's McNabb's numbers. Only 1 incompletion. Already has thrown for 245 and 3 touchdowns. And as Sims comes off the field, so another Lion shaken up. You've got to talk about the fact that the offensive line of the Eagles has been nearly perfect, and the Lions have struggled in that department.
We haven't mentioned a defensive lineman's name of Detroit yet today.
First down on the 21 of the Lions. Westbrook. Slanting off the left side, and Alexander brings him down, but not before he picks up 14 more.
I'm telling you, I would not practice Brian Westbrook the rest of the season on Wednesday or Thursday. I'd put the ball in his hands on Friday and let him come out fresh and look like this. He was saying that one of the problems they had the first 2 weeks was Donovan coming off the injury. They were working so hard to get him involved in the offense and getting his flow back. And he said, when we were successful the last 6 weeks of the season last year, the emphasis was to get me going early. And that's what I like to do. And they've done that today.
They like McNabb to get into rhythm, and Westbrook says, what about me? Well, here he is once again as Westbrook down to the 3.5-yard line, and he's approaching 100, actually about 84 yards right at this point, and we still have 6:20 to go.
Brian Westbrook spoke out after Monday night. He said that he didn't think that they were ready to play, that the level of focus was where it needed to be on Monday. And he's the leader of the team. He's not afraid to speak out and say it. He said they were too loose, and before they were getting results.
Ernie Sims is back in. Second down and goal. Play action. Watch out from behind. And the ball is knocked loose. A free ball. Lions recover. And it was Corey Smith who came from behind, and they ruled it a fumble initially.
There's Corey Smith chasing him from behind. Oh, yeah, nah, that ball wasn't going forward. He was still cocking that ball right there. And Corey Smith in place of Kalimba Edwards right now out there today at right end makes the biggest defensive play of the day for the Lions.
And that is the first sack of the game by the Lions defense. Loss of 6, and they get the ball.
Well, you know, you have a tuck rule in the NFL where if the ball is going forward at all, then that would be an incompletion. But right there, I think it's clear that that ball was still being put in position to throw it, and the arm wasn't going forward.
So the Lions have the ball on the 9-yard line. First turnover there, and the pass out of the backfield. Tatum Bell did all he could do to hold on to it as Quentin Michael with the crunching hit. Just 1 yard that time.
Dick, that last play by Corey Smith is one of those plays that if things get crazy in this game and the Lions make a comeback, you go back to that play. Because here the Eagles going in for their 6th straight touchdown in a row, and they get stopped. And now the Lions have something to do about that, what they can do with it offensively.
I'll tell you, the Eagles are inspired defensively. And you saw Michael, who's in for Dawkins, making the big play there. And there is Kitna. Let's see if it's a free play. The pass caught by Roy Williams. And Roy Williams in a foot race. Being chased by Quentin Michael. And in for the touchdown is Roy Williams.
And it's going to be an offside against the Eagles. This play is going to stand.
91 yards. And so Kitna, sensing it on the slant, had the free play, and Williams took it all the way.
Defense, number 93. The penalty is declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
Well, you have to be a prophetic guy because we saw the play made seconds ago.
There's a 14-point turnaround right there in a matter of about 30 seconds. But here's Roy on a slant. And this is what Roy Williams is not supposed to be able to do. Outrun a defense. The knock on him is he doesn't have that breakaway speed. But you can see that you get him in the open field. He's got his radar on, he's looking in the rearview mirror, and he's running just as fast as he has to in order to score.
And the extra point, Jason Hanson, as the Lions coming back, scoring the last 2 touchdowns in this wild game with 5:01 to go. And Roy Williams, who caught a 54-yarder early to set up the first touchdown, now has a touchdown reception in his 5th consecutive game.
Well, Mike Martz said that Roy Williams could be the best receiver he's ever coached, and that would include Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt and a bunch of others. And he's just not there yet. But, you know, right now we're looking at a game. It sort of reminds me of what we saw in Cleveland last week, Cincinnati and Cleveland, where 51, 6 touchdowns by Carson Palmer and they lose. I don't think any defense right now is safe to shut the other team down.
Williams with 3 catches for 151 yards. And the touchdown. And of course, the one aspect that Mike Martz was talking to us about was the discipline. He says if Roy Williams can really improve in the discipline area, he would be the best. And well, you look at the players you mentioned on the Rams that Martz coached, pretty high company.
Well, yeah, including some Super Bowl MVPs.
Calvin Johnson was shaken up. The preliminary report is that he injured his back, was taken into the locker room. Here's Karel Buckhalter ready to return the kick. So this crowd, which has been at a fevered pitch really through most of this first half, tempered somewhat by 2 straight scores by the Lions. Buckhalter. And he just stepped out of the end zone. He had no choice there. And there was a mix-up. Buckhalter had a foot out, and the other return man, Thomas DePay, was saying stay in. He couldn't. It was too late.
The Eagles don't have a bona fide return man. Week 1, they put Greg Lewis back there in the punt return. He was a disaster. And just the indecision here of an experienced return man, that's the last thing that you want to do. Now he loses his blocker there, Thomas DePay, as well, when he decides to come out. So he has no protector that can make the first block.
First down with just under 5 minutes remaining in the half, and now the Lions see what the Lions can do defensively to get the ball back. First down. Each team has 2 timeouts remaining, and here's McNabb. Thought about pitching it out, and goes out of bounds after a gain of about 4. And as they mark it, it's looks like more of a 2-yard gain for McNabb.
Just watching Donovan kind of jog back to the huddle there. That looks like the old Donovan moving. Just the way he's been able to escape pressure today, rescue a couple of plays.
Nimble.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we thought maybe after the injury those days might be over, but it looks like it's coming back a little bit.
Still has thrown only 1 incompletion, 12 of 13. 3 touchdown passes. Here's the handoff. Westbrook. He just doesn't go down, does he? Ryan Westbrook, and he picks up 17 more. First down.
Guys like this are not supposed to break tackles as frequently as Westbrook does, or even run inside like that. He gets a good block from Runyon on a tackle trap. Tackle there, just ran right over the safety.
And
this
101 yards now.
Yeah, but watch him put the hit here on Bashir, runs through that tackle, and then just unloads on Fernando Bryant and runs him over.
Buchalter comes back in the game on first down, and the pitch is to Correll Buchalter. And Buchalter carries it out to the 37-yard line. And a gain of 6 yards on the play. Ernie Sims making the tackle. So here you have Curtis with 187 yards in receptions, Brian, and Westbrook with 101 yards rushing in the first half.
Let me ask you this, Dick. I mean, we're watching this game here. We're in the second quarter, a couple minutes left. Do you feel like the Eagles are in position to win this game? I mean, you feel 35 points is going to be enough today?
I'm going to say the jury is still out because of Mike Martz's ability to get huge, passes free.
Who would think that the Eagles could score 35 in the first half, and that's going to be a lock to win a game? I don't feel that way early.
Second down and 5, again with a lot of time. Receivers seem to be covered for McNabb, and this pass is caught by Curtis again. Who else? Kevin Curtis with the reception. And into Lion territory, and a first down at the 45.
You know, and sometimes receivers have to step up and make big plays. And that time, Curtis was able to, almost like a shovel, get his hands underneath the ball and cradle that in. The Eagles go into a hurry up here so that maybe they don't have a chance to review it.
Why can't the Lions do anything against Curtis as Tepay gets a couple of yards? What's happening out there?
Well, first of all, their corners aren't good enough to lock him up. The first 2 weeks, the Green Bay Packers had Al Harris and Charles Woodson. Last week, there was Sean Springs and Rodgers. I mean, those guys can get on them and play sticky man-to-man. The Lions don't have those type of cornerbacks.
First down second down for the Eagles, and about 8. And we're going to wind down to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to go. If you like offense, spectacular plays, we've had it. Eagles 35, Lions 21.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Chevy, an American Revolution.
Two minutes remaining in the first half here in Philadelphia. Dick Stockton along with Brian Baldinger, Jennifer Hammond down on the field. And the Eagles lead 35-21. They are up 35-7, and John Kitna with a couple of touchdown passes has brought the Lions back. Question is, what can the Lions do defensively? There you see Max Gene Gillis, number 62, who's replaced the Pro Bowler Sean Andrews at right guard. Each team with 2 timeouts remaining in the half, second inning. Neb flips it to Westbrook. Look at that! Unbelievable! Unbelievable. Brian Westbrook continues to find a way. Last week, a couple of big runs against Washington and a 43-yard touchdown run. Stanley Wilson missed the tackle, and there's an injured Lion on the field, but Wilson's not the only one who has missed him today. And Ernie Sims is shaken up.
It's about the most basic, simple play that the Eagles do. Walk, let the rush come, and then let Westbrook just turn around. Now he's got Max Gene out there, breaks that tackle, breaks that tackle, breaks that one. Let's say 3 clearly broken tackles. He's like, where is everybody else chasing me right now as he gallops into this end zone?
He was stumbling at one point, right there.
That's a big time move. A lot of guys go down right there. A lot of guys don't, after going down, don't have that extra power and then the burst to break that last tackle.
98 yards in receiving yards and 101 rushing for Westbrook. And Ernie Sims, who was shaken up earlier, still down. And there is the defensive coordinator Joe Barry, who's in his first year.
This last play by Westbrook sort of incorporates everything that you look for in a running back. I mean, hands. I mean, just his ability to kind of set up a screen, you know, kind of fake, now turn around. Okay, now set up your blockers. That's important. Get the big guys out there. All right, now you got to change direction. Now you got to get down in one hand. You got to break that. Now run through the gauntlet. How many tackles can you break? You know, now you got your head on a swivel. Anybody going to get me here? Sort of incorporates everything that you want in a featured back.
Sims walking off the field with some help, flanked by a couple of trainers.
We've seen some explosive games already this season, early in the season, Dick, and you look at this Eagle offense and the Detroit line offense, you go, why are the offenses so far ahead of the defense? I think it's these extended off seasons now where, I mean, these teams are together for 12, 14, 15 weeks in the off season. And the timing and the rhythm is there way before they get to training camp.
And it's amazing because usually in preseason the offenses are still getting going.
Yeah, but they're not behind anymore because I think all the extra work they're getting in the offseason.
David Akers on for yet another extra point, and it's good. And it is now 42-21. As you look at Donovan McNabb's number, and I'll tell you what. It's a three-man team today. It's Westbrook, Curtis, and Donovan McNabb. And you asked the question a little while ago, do you think that the Philadelphia Eagles were in control? They scored that last touchdown. I have to say, if the Detroit Lions can't slow them down somewhat, no, it's the Eagles' day.
Well, they can't slow them down right now. I mean, they're not covering well. They're not tackling well right now. Now, is it the greatness of Westbrook and Kevin Curtis, or are the Lions here guilty of some of this yardage that they're giving up? I mean, there's almost 500 yards of offense here.
What do you think?
I mean, to me, it's the Eagles players right now and the rhythm that they're in. I don't think the Lions can stop them, but I'm not so sure that the Eagles defense can stop the Lions here as well. I mean, they have stopped them at times, but when they've given up the big plays, they've scored.
Well, they got a 21-point lead. They've doubled up half these Lions. I mean, Roy Williams already had a big day with a touchdown catch and has gone 151 yards. We told you about McNabb. There's Kevin Cobb, who is the backup quarterback and the rookie. And, of course, a lot of discussion with the Eagles drafting Cobb as their first pick. Came in the second round as to what does that mean. David Akers kicking off, and Brian Calhoun returning from the 3. And he is tackled just beyond the 25. Well, coming up on the Visa halftime report, Kurt, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will have scores and highlights from around the league, and the Fox Sports ticker has up to the second scores and stats.
Good look to Sean Andrews coming back out of the locker room. I was talking to him before the game, and he had never played against Sean Rogers before, the talented defensive tackle of the Lions. And Sean went to his first Pro Bowl last year. He was looking forward to that matchup today, him and Rogers inside. So far, the Eagles have dominated that matchup.
Troy Walters, number 17 in the game at wide receiver, diminutive one. Fitness stepping up, and the pass caught by Roy Williams about 3 yards shy of the first down.
Dick, I would say to put this game in the capsule, this is a fantasy football dream game here today.
Second down and 3 with under a minute and a half to go. And false start will be called against the right side of the Lions line.
False start. Offense. Number 72. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
George Foster, and he's had a few penalties today, 3 to be exact.
Well, when you want to run a wide open offense like the Lions do, it puts an awful lot of pressure on the offensive line. We're on a short corner here. There's no tight ends. Quicker route to the quarterback.
Second down and 8. Pass batted down at the line by
Illegal contact. Defense, number 21. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
It's amazing. It looks like you're going to stop them, and then all of a sudden, away from the play, you have a defensive penalty. William James commits it, and it's an automatic first.
When a short corner, I'm saying right here, these ends right here have a very easy route to the quarterback. There's nobody here that they have to go outside. And so it's a quicker route to get there. And so even when Kitna completes a pass, a lot of times he takes a hit at the end. And there's only so many hits that you can incur during the course of a season.
First down. There's the pressure on Kitna today. And Roy Williams. And he'll call it a catch just shy of the first down marker. And a 9-yard pickup.
See, now the game plan today coming in for Sheldon Brown was to get up on Roy Williams and not let him get off this line of scrimmage. But when you score on the type of plays that Roy has scored today, you don't want to give up the big play at this time of the game, so you give him a little bit of a cushion in front of him.
Already 5 catches, 167 yards and a score. 2nd and 1. Lions have only 1 timeout left. Here's Kitna. And Kitna going deep. Again, good coverage downfield, and the ball's knocked away from Roy Williams. As Quinton Michael and Sheldon Brown were in the neighborhood.
This is a heck of a play. Kitna rolls right, and then they come back to Roy Williams, but really a good job of being double teamed by Michael and Brown, but you can see the athletic ability and the acrobatic ability of Roy Williams going for that ball.
You've had a few injuries today, and we have an update here. And Sean Andrews, who you saw coming back on the field, questionable as to his return to an eye injury. So it's 3rd down and 1. Kitna, and he gets it in the hands of Troy Walters. And Walters going out of bounds, stopping the clock in a first down. You know, Troy Walters' father, Trey Walters, is the secondary coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, and it's an 8-year veteran is Troy Walters, and this is the first time that the two have opposed each other. They were together with the Minnesota Vikings, but Trent, the Eagles secondary coach in his 4th year with the Eagles, and for the first time he's seeing his son wearing the enemy colors. Proud day, proud day. Trent Walters came into our meeting room today, told us the story, and had some dinner with his son last night, but no exchange, no secrets exchanged. First down, under a minute remaining, and this pass caught in stride, and the reception made by Sean McDonald into Eagle territory, and right now they're in field goal range. 23-yard pickup, and a timeout called by the Lions.
Mike Martz said as far as timeouts here in the final 2 minutes of a half or a game, he would rather have as much time as possible than plays. And so he called the timeout there to give him as much time, 50 seconds here, to work from the 22-yard line in.
So the Lions do not have a timeout remaining. We have 50 seconds to go in the first half, and a first down on the Eagles 22. You know the Lions are not thinking of 3 at all here. Down by 21. Kitna in trouble. Furry was the closest receiver, and it brings up 2nd and 10.
You know, John Kitna said no matter what the defense does, the way that we study this offense, we always have an answer. And the answer that time was sort of the safety valve on the right side. Once he felt the pressure coming from his left, he just didn't get the ball there. There was a receiver there to catch it. Sometimes the quarterback has to make the the accurate throw.
Well, Mike Martz was telling us the other day it's the time on the clock, not the timeouts left, that determine how many plays you can get off. And this was nearly intercepted by Joselio Hansen.
That's a tough player. Joselio Hansen is a guy that was a free agent acquisition last year from the Eagles. He played over in NFL Europe. He was cut by the 49ers. And he just always is around the ball. He's 5'9". You look at him, he comes into the room, you're like, this guy can't possibly play pro football. But you watch him cover, and he's sticky, Dick. I mean, he sticks, he's glue. He's glue to receivers out there, and then maybe he's just got to work on those hands right there, because that could have been a pick six the other way.
They're down at 10. Kicka gets some breathing room and goes into the end zone. And is intercepted by Sean Considine. Shaken up against the Redskins with a bruised knee, comes back and gets the pick in the end zone to end that Lion threat.
Well, this is what pressure can do. You're trying to make a play. You're down 3 touchdowns. You got to throw it in the air. And you can see Sean Considine does a good job of getting both feet down in the end zone, in the Swedish colors of those end zone. I think the Eagles might like these uniforms.
And that is, well,
I asked Andy Reid if he was superstitious at all. He said not at all.
Well,
but after they wear these uniforms, it might change a little bit.
Well, the players weren't happy with it. I mean, they didn't like the way they looked. But I'd have to tell you, Brian, if they get 42 points a half, they'll take it.
The fans, they've got 6 touchdowns out there. They don't like the Eagles taking an 8. They won 7.
Greedy.
Yeah. One of the 7 deadly sins, Dick.
Reed is not good, and that'll do it. Boy, a rough first half for the Lions. They managed to get 3 touchdowns, and that's the end of the first half with the score. The Eagles 42 and the Lions 21. Fox NFL Sunday continues with the Visa halftime report right after these messages. Well, if you're watching, we hope you're proficient in high mathematics, because we start the third quarter and the 63 combined points rank as the second highest first half total in NFL history, Brian Baldinger. And the Lions will be kicking off to the Eagles.
The Eagles did not punt in the first half. I mean, that was part of their success and part of their 472 yards of offense in the first half.
Terrell Buckhalter back deep. They'll run it out from the yard. And they go to the 20-yard line. Now, remember, one of the questions before was who's going to step up. McNabb and Westbrook have been solid. Well, Westbrook certainly, and Kevin Curtis as well. I mean, well over 100 yards in their categories.
Well, you know, it's like they struggled, you know, to score 1 touchdown the first 2 weeks. They've more than made up for that here in the first half. And Kevin Curtis, you know, welcome to Philadelphia. Welcome to the new uniforms, the throwback jerseys from 1933. He looks like an unstoppable force.
He used to have 50-yard line seats back then, didn't he?
Yeah. First in the family.
First down at the 21 for Donovan McNabb. First pass is an out, and it's caught by Reggie Brown. So second down coming up. So now let's look ahead at what we've got here as far as the Lions and the Eagles, and there's got to be some semblance of Detroit defensively putting more pressure on McNabb, I would think.
We'll see what they can do. I mean, you know, McNabb has missed 1 pass in the first half, and so they haven't gotten to him. They haven't put any pressure. Now, Rod Marinelli is an old defensive line coach. I'm sure he gave a whipping to the guys up front here coming out of the locker room.
Second down and 6. Sean Andrews back in at right guard, number 73. And the pass is swung out to Westbrook. Dodges another player and is 1 yard shy of the first down. So that'll be third down and 1 coming up. Westbrook with a brilliant first half. 11 carries for 101 yards.
Look,
and now on the brink of going over 100 as a receiver.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's fantasy. It is Westbrook has been able to do anything he wanted to do in that first half.
Tony Hunt, the rookie running back from Penn State, practiced this week, and he's in the lineup now. 3rd round pick, number 29. And he gets the ball, and he is dumped by number 79. Good play made by Langston Moore.
That's the first time that they've stopped the Eagles today. Langston Moore came from the backside. He got inside Trey Thomas, and Tony Hunt's first carry in the NFL goes for negative yards. You saw the emotion of Detroit right there. Anything can be a spark at this point. 3 and out, make the Eagles punt for the first time. You try to build off of that.
Troy Walters goes back, and Sav Raka played 15 years of Australian rules football with his first kick. And it's going to die inside the 30-yard line. So the Lions defense does its job on the first possession. See what Mike Martz has in mind when we come back.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. With Southwest Airlines' convenient nonstop flights, it's like having your own company plane. By Visa, go on, live life, and remember that no matter what it takes, life takes Visa. And by the full-size Toyota Tundra, the truck that is changing it all.
Oh, no.
Back here in Philadelphia, and unlike a Mike Martz offense, he lines up only one wide receiver. That's Mike Furry on the right. He has Sean McHugh, a tight end. Blaine Saipaia, who is a center, who is also on the right flank, and the handoff is to Tata Bell. So this is a power offense that we're seeing right here, Brian.
Well, it's a real shift. It's a shift from what they've done in the first half. And Mike Martz is not afraid to run the football. In fact, the last time when he was with the Rams and played against the Eagles, he actually ran 8 straight runs against the Eagles and scored on an 80-yard drive. And so the passing attack was, I think, exhausting to Roy Williams, and maybe this is a shift here to get this offense started.
Roy Williams has been on the sideline, and we know Calvin Johnson had to go in. Once again, Tata Bell, and he gets to midfield. And William James making the tackle, and a nice run by the former Denver Bronco as he gets 14 yards.
Don't know if there's anything wrong with Roy Williams, but he hasn't started the second half. He had an exhausting first half. I mean, after Calvin Johnson was injured, almost every single ball was thrown to him.
And I noticed in the latter stages was on the sidelines. It was not in the lineup. That's when Troy Walters came in there. There you see the rushing story. Detroit stuck at 21. Kevin Jones. Now in the backfield. First down. Midfield. Roll out by Kitna. And the pass sitting right there is Furry. Makes the catch. And a first down to the 29 of the Eagles. And right now for a game break, let's return to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles.
Well, Terry's upset pick was the Green Bay Packers over San Diego. It looked good for a while, but right now, LaDainian Tomlinson and the Chargers, after that touchdown, have a 4-point lead. That one in the third quarter. Back to Dick and Baldy.
All right, thank you very much, Kurt. Packers giving the Chargers a good fight here. Here is Kevin Jones testing the middle of the line, and he picks up 2 yards on first down.
You know, it's interesting, at wide receiver out there right now with Roy Williams on the sideline is Sean McDonald and Mike Furry. And you go, oh, who are those guys? Well, Mike Furry caught 98 passes last year. And if you talk to the Eagles defensive backs like Sheldon Brown, those guys are more difficult to cover out here than the big guys, Calvin Johnson, Roy Williams, because it's hard to get your hands on these guys. They're quicker and they're smaller. There's less body surface to hit them.
Second and 8. Hit from behind by Trent Cole. And another sack, 5th of the game by the Eagles defense. And they'll lose about 8 yards.
Well, this is Trent Cole here, going to beat Jeff Backus clean. He had that dip move again that we talked about in the first quarter, Dick, where he gets underneath the offensive tackle's hands and he's able to raise himself up. He's going to have at least double-digit sacks this year on that move alone.
Jonathan Scott has replaced Jeff Backus at left tackle. So there's Kitna. Double figures and hits and hurries. That's not good. Third down and 16. Penalty marker is down. And Kitna being chased by Javon Curse as he goes out of bounds. Flag is down on the other sideline.
Going to be a penalty against Javon Curse. Not sure why Kitna didn't throw the ball. He's got no repercussions. Even if he throws a bad throw, it was going to come back. I think he knew it, too.
He got 6 out of it.
Defense, offside, number 93, 5-yard penalty, Replay third down.
You got the right guy, Javon Curse.
Andy Reid's going to take Curse right out of the game.
And Jaquay Thomas has replaced him. So the veteran Javon Curse, who injured a knee last season early in the campaign, went on IR. And Jaquay Thomas replaces him. 3rd and 11. Roy Williams is checked back in the lineup. Number 11. There he is. Kitna. And he completes it to Furry, and not going to get the first down, as Mike Furry is stopped after a gain of about 8 yards and short of the first down. And Jason Hanson will come in to presumably try a field goal.
It's the right thing to do here. You need to get points out of this drive here to keep some momentum going. The defense did a good job of getting the ball back, forcing the Eagles to punt.
This will be a 46-yard try. Hanson has missed one so far this year. That was the one that would have won it in regulation last week against the Vikings. He did win in overtime. And here's Jason Hanson, reliable for a long time, and he misses. Hooked it. So Rod Marinelli sees an interception at the end of the first half that goes against him, and a missed field goal. Score stays the same.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light. Refreshingly smooth Bud Light. Always worth it.
Cloudless sky here in Philadelphia as the Eagles maintain the 42-21 lead. 8:36 to go in the third. And if you're just tuning in, the Eagles are wearing the uniforms they wore in the first season when they joined the NFL back in 1933. Pitch to Brian Westbrook. He's had a big day, and this time the Lions short-circuit him after maybe 1 yard.
I think the hardest thing that the Eagles have to do right now is just fight that lethargic feeling of, you've got 42 points. We've got all these yards. We've had all this success. Westbrook is over 200 yards of total offense. Just kind of fighting the malaise that can set in after the most explosive first half the Eagles have ever had under Andy Reid.
And you can't do it when you have Mike Martz on the other side.
No, you can't rest easy.
Here's McNabb. They pick up the rush beautifully, and the pass is caught by Curtis. What a day, career day for Kevin Curtis. 10th catch of the game. Over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, and a terrific job of protecting Donovan McNabb today. That was good for 12.
What was good about that throw, outside of the completion to Curtis, another one, was how well Donovan saw the whole field. From sideline to sideline, just going through his progressions, because Kevin Curtis wasn't his first receiver on that play.
There's Curtis. Former Ram with a great game. Westbrook, also a great game. Manages to edge his way into Lion territory and shaken up as Dwayne White makes the tackle. Looks like, is that William Thomas?
That's William Thomas.
Thomas last week suffered back spasms and now going to limp off.
Well, that's not back spasms there. That's just getting his knee rolled up. And so last year's #1 pick, Winston Justice, will come in for his place. But what a warrior, though, William Thomas has been. One of only 2 players on this roster that Andy Reid did not draft.
2nd down and 8. Pass caught at the 40. It'll be a first down to Jason Avant, who had scored the only Eagle touchdown coming into this game. Picks up 9.
Take a look at William Thomas here. This is a nightmare. It looked like Ernie Sims kind of falling right into the back of his right knee. For a man that's 6'7", stretched out like that, it's just such a vulnerable thing.
You mentioned Ernie Sims. Paris Lennon also has been shaken up. That's why Teddy Lehman is in there. Well, the Lions have had their share of injuries. More than their share. 6 minutes remaining in the third. First down on the 40 of the Lions. There's Westbrook. Breaks 1 tackle, breaks 2 tackles, and gets close to the first down. Want to remind you, the NFL on Fox coming up next. The Giants, who started the year 0-2 and have given up 80 points in 2 games against the Redskins, who are 2-0 and beat these Eagles Monday night at FedEx Field.
Important NFC East matchup. Redskins starting off 2-0. Looked good, looked very good defensively on Monday night. And that Jason Campbell looked good, getting the ball to a bunch of playmakers.
Donovan McNabb, by the way, has completed 16 in a row. And Thomas DePay bounces to the outside and will get the first down and out of bounds at the 20. So a great mix today. You know, the Eagles didn't run that much Monday, running a lot more today.
Just the dive to Thomas DePay. He's just looking for some kind of open real estate.
He got 11 yards, and I guess it goes without saying when you have a lead like this. I mean, that's what you do in the second half.
That's, you know, people will be counting, you know, how many passes, how many runs right here. But when you get that kind of a lead, that's kind of the time to start pounding it a little bit more. And who can argue with the passing game today?
First down at the 20, up the middle. Pass caught by Max Schobel, and Schobel gets 8 yards.
It was interesting. When the Eagles started off 0-2 in 2003, they went to Buffalo to play, and pressure was on Donovan. He didn't play well against Tampa in the opening, and then against the Patriots, and they lost. And, you know, a lot of people said Donovan's got to sit down, and Andy Reid said, you know, like Larry Bird, bad game shooting, you just keep shooting to get hot. And Andy Reid can tell you exactly what play they ran on the first play against Buffalo, who caught it, and what happened on the play, like coaches can remember like nothing else.
He told us he remembered high school guys he played with and what numbers they wore. Here's a handoff to Westbrook, and Westbrook gets to the 8-yard line. Another first down for Philadelphia, and you saw the play selection, which is pretty much balanced, and a lot of it coming here in the second half. Westbrook scoring 3 touchdowns today.
Dick, I would think about really almost sitting Westbrook down at this point. I mean, he takes a hit right here. He's carried the load. He's done his job here today. These are the kind of shots that Westbrook doesn't take a lot of, but that low shot to his leg on his knee, those are the kind of shots that make his knee swell up.
108 yards rushing, 111 as a receiver. Here's McNabb, flips it into the end zone, and nowhere near, and a flag goes down at the goal line. Penalty flag is there. Kevin Curtis, see if he was held.
Well, if you scored 3 touchdown passes already today, it might be a good defense to hold him and not let him get number 4.
Illegal contact. Defense, number 25. The penalty is half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
It's Fernando Bryant right there. I mean, that's just, you know, it's after the 5 yards. Just grabbed him and not let him get started.
That's why I asked you a little while ago, you know, what can the Lions do about Curtis? And the one thing you never said is
I didn't say to tackle the receiver, but that didn't work either, because now the Eagles get a first down and a couple more shots, and that's dangerous there for Westbrook as he's getting looked at after his last carry.
Tony Hunt is the tailback, number 29. Play action. And there's McNabb backing up. He was trying to go to Hank Basket.
Wait a second, is that an incompletion? I don't know if McNabb was capable of that today.
It's a second of the game.
And so that was a throwaway. There was nobody there. I mean, he had to do that.
He had 18 completions in a row before that last pass play, and I'm just going to take a wild guess that McNabb's passing rating is going to soar this week. What do you think?
Yeah, for whatever that's worth. You know, for whatever quarterback rating means. Yeah. McNabb is only going to be measured by postseason wins. That's all. I mean, regular season, he's expected to get to this team to the playoffs. How he does in the postseason is how he's always going to be framed.
Second down and goal. Tony Hunt gets to the 1. That close to his first NFL touchdown.
Yeah. Andy Reid was talking to us about Tony Hunt on Friday, and the first thing he said to him about it is how big his head is. You know, like they're surprised they can find a helmet that big. And he doesn't have great speed, but he's just one of those guys at Penn State and in the preseason here in Philadelphia was a guy that you could just pound. And he could move a pile, and he finds a hole pretty good. And there's a role for him on this team.
Buckhalter comes in for him. And it'll be third down and go from the 1. And they give it to Coulter, who goes straight ahead for the touchdown. And the beat goes on for the light blue and yellow clad Philadelphia Eagles today.
Well, you can see that the inside. Harriman gets a good block. Jamal Jackson, Winston Justice there, and you can see how tight he hugs that double team. Running away from the defender and hanging on the offensive line.
And the first touchdown of the season for Correll Buckhalter. So for a team, as Akers kicks the extra point to make it 49-21, that had only 1 touchdown coming in. They've got 8 now on the year. Marty Morenweg, who calls the plays, and the former coach of the Detroit Lions, and dialing up the right ones today as the Eagles lead by a score of 49-21 over the Lions. And there is the scoring drive, and the lowest yardage in the scoring drive all day was 43 yards. You have a lot from 50, 60, a couple in the 70s, and 1 in the 80s. That's what it's been like for the Eagles this afternoon. They'll be kicking off. Troy Walters is back deep for the Lions. David Akers picking up some conversion points. There's Walters in the end zone.
They make throwback uniforms for the cheerleaders as well. Throwback pom-poms, throwback baseball hats.
A lot of tailoring going on for this week.
A lot of work with the sewing machine this week.
Troy Walters, 2 yards in the end zone. Not big, but he can fly, and he goes out of bounds at the 26. So Brian Dawkins watching all this today and loving every minute of it.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Verizon Wireless. Gotta have the latest football news, get up-to-the-minute commentary, interviews, and even matchup previews with Fox Sports. All on your VCast phone from Verizon Wireless.
Late in the third quarter here in Philadelphia on a splendid day. Dick Stockton along with Brian Baldinger. And the Eagles lead it by a score of 49-21. And they scored touchdowns in their first 3 possessions, kind of set the tone for this game. Lions have the ball. And a first down on the 21. Make it the 26 for Detroit.
Lions back to that 2 wide receiver set.
The field. The clock's are now partial.
Play clock. The
Gene Steratore.
play clock is bothered. There should be a 25 inside that play clock.
And I will say that neither team really needs it.
They've been playing without it pretty well.
Kitna under pressure, and he flips it off to Tatum Bell. Bell hit from behind by Jaquay Thomas. Let's send it down now to Jennifer Hammond.
And guys, Brian Westbrook indeed did suffer a rib injury near the goal line in the last offensive series of the Eagles. He has been taken into the locker room. They are x-raying that injury. In the meantime, left tackle William Thomas will probably be back. They did say that he had a knee sprain, but looks good for him to come back.
Okay, Jennifer, thank you very much. That is shaky news with Westbrook for sure, considering all he has meant to the team this year.
Busy afternoon.
First down on the draw play to David Tatum Bell. Bell running right into Sheldon Brown and gets 2 yards on the play.
Now, this game got out of control from the Detroit Lions today, but I think looking ahead to this team, it's going to be a competitive team all year. They're not going to fall apart. They've got too many good players. They've got too much of a good system. But I do think they need more balance on their offense. And so getting Kevin Jones out on the field today helps. They need to get their tight end back, and he may be out for the season. So they need to get some balance into the offense.
Kitna, and Roy Williams drops it. Again, started a run before he had possession. That would have been a big opportunity, and Mike Martz is going to be gnashing his teeth over the chances that his team has had. And I go to late in the first half when they had a chance to get a field goal to make things close, and then the missed field goal by Hansen, and on that play, who knows what would have happened.
Yeah, and then the interception in the end zone by Sean Considine at the end of the first half.
That's right. That's what he said.
Yeah, would have been a touchdown. So there's been some points on the board. That's Broderick Bunkley, defensive tackle of the Eagles, who has gotten off to a great start, kind of unnoticed because of the Eagles' losses.
3rd and 8. Catch is made by Roy Williams, but he can't get away from Sheldon Brown. What a game that Sheldon Brown is playing, Brian. You consider Lito Shepherd, who suffered the sprained knee week 1, and he is the most experienced cornerback that the Eagles have, and he has come up big today.
Well, Sheldon Brown said that we always think that our offense is going to score at least 17 points minimum. Now today, they've far succeeded that, and he said, you know, defensively, that's what we want to keep our opponents under.
Oselio Hansen comes off the field shaken up. 4th down, Pino Mahe. Back deep at the 12-yard line. And down he goes at the 23. We have a quarter to go. Back here in Philadelphia, 5 seconds remain in the 3rd quarter. William Thomas is all right. He's back in the game at left tackle for the Eagles. 1st and 10 for Philadelphia. Terrell Buckhalter in motion to the right. And the pass caught by Kevin Curtis out of bounds. Gets to the 35-yard line. That is the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. Eagles 49, Lions 21. Fox NFL Sunday continues after a word from your local Fox station.
You're watching Fox NFL Sunday.
Start of the 4th quarter here in Philadelphia, and the Eagles up 49-21. Donovan McNabb, great numbers.
Well, it's a perfect quarterback rating is what that is right there, Dick, which is the highest you can get, 158.3.
And McNabb going up the middle, bobbled, and eligibly picked off. Terrell Buckhalter couldn't hold on. Now you're looking at the Fox box at the top, has all the information, but because of a malfunction of the clock, it's got to be blank right now. But all the other information is there for you, including scores of other games.
Including the Chargers there beating Green Bay in the 4th quarter, 21-17.
The Patriots rolling over the Bills, and the Colts doing the same to the surprising Houston Texans. 3rd down and 5. Pressure on McNabb, who has to get rid of it in a hurry.
Never fails, Dick. Never fails. You give the quarterback credit for having a perfect quarterback rating, and immediately that follows is 2 incompletions. It
Right.
just,
Sure.
yeah, you know, you're at the free throw line. He's perfect for the day, and bam.
And you hope he ends up 50% today. So it's 4th down and 5, and Sam Rocca will be kicking to Troy Walters. Rocca, a 33-year-old rookie. Short kick. And Walters hit immediately. Good coverage by the Eagles special teams. Nick Graham. Early here in quarter number 4, believe us.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Lowe's. For all your home improvement needs, Lowe's. Let's build something together. By Domino's Pizza. Get the door, it's Domino's. By the new AT&T. Your world delivered. And by the Ford F-150. Built Ford tough.
Within the first minute of the fourth quarter, Dick Stockton, Brian Baldinger, and the Lions with the ball. First down. Looking left, going right to Tatum Bell. And Bell, with a little run after the catch, winds up with 3 yards on the play. And it looks like we do have the time in order above. This sports town has got to be really one of the better sports town in America. Have to be excited because of, number one, the Philadelphia Phillies, who are chasing the Mets in the National League East and the wild card as well, losing right now to the Washington Nationals. And their Eagles way ahead of the Lions, 49-21.
Two good offensive teams.
Second down, and the pass caught by Roy Williams, shy of the first down.
So that's called tackling the catch by Sheldon Brown there. I mean, not one extra yard after the catch. Sheldon just shadowing him on that comeback. Those guys have probably gotten to know each other pretty good on the field today. Sheldon has been with Roy Williams most of the afternoon.
Williams with 7 catches for 173 yards. And it's shaken up, and you see holding on to his right hand. Stays in the game and lined up wide to the right.
Roy said enough for Sheldon Brown. Let me go to the other side. Work on William James.
Third down and 2. Kidna can't go left. Goes up the middle. Williams has it. And a first down to the 34-yard line. Roy Williams having a big day today as a receiver. That's good for 24 yards.
Now, here is Roy. Now, you see, there's the press coverage. They jammed him, but that's not enough. Now, the reason why this ball was able to get completed down the seam for one of the rare times today is Kitten had time. Look left, and was able to back up with the protection to find Roy Williams. That hasn't happened very often.
Brian Calhoun, who was the leading rusher for the Lions last week, in the lineup. Right now, it's empty. And the flip to Roy Williams. The rest is up to Roy, and Roy gets to the 26-yard line. And for a game break, let's quickly get to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles.
All right, Baltimore and Arizona. Kurt Warner has replaced Matt Leinart and led the Cardinals to 2 touchdown drives, both ending in touchdown passes to Anquan Boldin. And it's a 23-20 game. Baltimore trying to hold on. Dick and Baldy, pardon me.
How many years Kurt Warner done this?
Because he was well trained by Mike Martz.
Right.
And Mike has had great success working with quarterbacks that have been kicked around for a long time.
Looks like Roy Williams been kicked around a little bit. He's on the sidelines right now. And here is Kitna stepping up. Open is Troy Walters down the middle. And it is not Walters, but Brian Calhoun. Let's check in again with Jennifer Hammond. Nickname Calhoun, I might add.
All right, thanks, Dick. And Jeff Backus and Damien Woody both missing from the offensive line because of rib injuries, and neither one is expected back.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. Blaine Saipaia has replaced Woody.
Jonathan Scott right now over at left tackle.
First down, though, for the Lions on the 15-yard line. I tell you that they're not hanging back. They keep coming. Here's the pass, and overthrowing Sean McDonald. Well, Mike Martz, of course, with that great offense, but let's take a look back, rewind to see some of the quarterbacks under Mike Martz.
Yeah, way back in Washington, there was Trent Green, who was an 8th-round pick. Then there was Kurt Warner, the former stock boy in Iowa, and Mark Bulger was a 6th-round pick that was cut. John Kitna went to NFL Europe, played in Barcelona, released by Seattle, Cincinnati, and here he is engineering the #1 passing offensive football.
And you got to be smart playing for Mike Martz.
And there's a big list of components that goes into it.
2nd and 10, and here's Calhoun. Calhoun gets inside the 15-yard line.
This is what goes into making a Mike Martz quarterback. I mean, first of all, you got to be smart because he's gonna build a robot. He's gonna overload the computer. You're gonna get hit in this offense, and so you got to be tough. And then I think the thing that's interesting is, okay, you got to give into the system. You got to buy into it. But that part about accuracy, Mike Martz, and I believe, Mike, that accuracy is an innate ability. Either you're accurate and can throw the ball through the tire, or you can't. and his guys are.
And you should say you should never have an interception.
Well,
should never happen. 3rd down and 9. Kitna, trouble, loses the ball. Fumble, and the Lions may have it back. It looked like one of the linemen, Saipea, had recovered, but we'll wait for the official call. He lost it. Blaine Saipea had it, and it looks like Quentin Michael had wrestled it away.
Well, either that or the referee is in the rest of the match, or the line judge there at the bottom. Just looking to see who uncovered and came up with the ball.
2nd turnover by Marinelli's crew. So the Eagles get the ball back on the fumble by John Kitna, and they'll start from the 7-yard line.
We have delay of game, number 27, Philadelphia. Was a 5-yard penalty. It'll be 1st and 10, Philadelphia.
This is the new rule put in this year.
Yeah, it's not just offense, it's defensive players too. And it's called delay a game, where you spike the ball in the field of play. Everybody's looking around. It look like these guys were real sure about exactly what to call there. The flags didn't come immediately out of the pocket.
1st down. Buckholter, who has scored a touchdown today, gets about 6.
Let's go back to the fumble by John Kitna here, and just look at the mechanics of what happens. I mean, this is just a hot potato now. It's scrambling on the ground. Quentin Michael recovers it, but at that point, nobody knows who has the ball. So the side judge, the referees, the officials, they all come in scrambling, get involved in the scramble, and all they're doing is trying to separate who's got the ball, and they're just yelling color, either white or yellow, who has it. Bring that up because the Eagles lost the opening game against Green Bay this year after a muff punt that got recovered in the end zone. Even though the Eagles came up with the ball, they didn't see it at the bottom of the pocket.
2nd and 4, Buckholter again. Meanwhile, Donovan McNabb remains in this game. We're in the 4th quarter and a huge lead for the Eagles, Brian.
He doesn't want to come out of the game. The last thing he wants to see is Kevin Cobb coming onto the field. I mean, he wants to keep him at bay as long as he can. I mean, not just this game. I mean, like this year, next year, and the year after. And that's the thing you always say, well, how's the quarterback out there? Westbrook's out. They don't want to come off the field and let anybody see what the next guy might be able to do.
And, of course, this year more than ever in this city. 3rd down and 2. Little pump fake. Dropping the pass is Curtis. What's the matter with him?
Get new receivers.
Yeah, I mean, okay. You're either going to say you dropped the pass or you're 11 for 222 and 3 touchdown catches. Boy, Andy Reid will have a word to him when he gets to the sideline, I'm sure.
A little perplexed. See it? See, but when you coach all the way through every play.
4th down and Sav Rocca only kicking for the 3rd time. So I don't even know if he earned a paycheck today, did Rocca. And Troy Walters backed up to the 35 and fakes the handoff, keeps the ball, makes a wide arc. Flag is down, and Troy Walters goes out of bounds at the 49 with the penalty down.
He ran a long ways, didn't he? He gained a few yards. That's an exciting day for Troy Walters going up against.
Doing the return. Illegal block in the back. Number 82 of the return team. 10-yard penalty. Timeout.
Casey Fitzsimmons. 8:49 to go in the game. Eagles 49 and the Lions 21. Welcome back to Philadelphia, and the Eagles, who lost on Monday night, turning the tables on these Detroit Lions. And the 49 points scored by the Eagles matches the most in the Andy Reid era. And the whistle blows, and a false start penalty.
Start. Offense, number 82. 5-yard penalty. First down.
The Eagles scored 49 against the Dallas Cowboys in November of '04. Won the game 49-21. I guess when you're going to score 49, the other team has to get 21. So that matches the most.
There.
John Kitna today, 23 of 37, 405 yards, not far away from his career high of 411. 2 touchdowns, 1 pick.
been sacked, and that is a takedown by Jaquay Thomas. That is the 6th sack of the game against Kidna.
Now, the defensive line is going to get credit for most of those 6 sacks today, Dick, but you've got to give credit, unbelievable credit, really, to a guy like Quentin Michael, to Heselio Hansen. These guys that, you know, were backups, came in to start today, and without Brian Dawkins, without Lito Shepherd, have stepped up. Will James, these guys have stepped up and played huge for this defense.
That is a huge, that is a story today, because they were shorthanded. And against Mike Martz, as Kidna loses it again and loses the ball as well, and the Eagles recover. Jaquay Thomas gets the loose ball. And another turnover, a 7-yard loss, 7 sacks, and the 3rd turnover of the game committed by the Detroit Lions. So this is picnic time and a rough afternoon, long one for Rod Marinelli.
Wow, this is a chance for the defensive line just to really pad their statistics. But this Jaquay Thomas, who was really kind of a guy they picked up a couple of years ago from Tennessee, continues to show up, continues to make plays, continues to be a force on this defensive line. And that was just a great effort to reach and knock that ball out of Kitna's hands.
And it was Trent Cole who had 8 sacks 2 years ago, a 1.5 last year. This is his 3rd of the game, so he's coming back to his standards of a couple of years ago. Here is McNabb. Schobel was knocked down. Incomplete pass, and pass interference against the Lions will make it 1st and goal at the 1.
Pass interference. Defense, number 53. By rule, foul, defensive pass interference that occurs in the end zone. The ball will be placed at the 1-yard line.
This is a confident throw by Donovan McNabb, because you can see how tight the coverage is. And most guys, especially after a day like today, don't want to mar it with any kind of interceptions. But he can feel it today. The rhythm is there, and he pulled the trigger. And that's a good sign for Eagle fans and for this offense.
Paris Lennon committing the penalty. It is a good sign. Of course, around here, as you know, Philadelphia, you're only as good as your last performance.
In every sport.
And the handoff to Thomas DePay, who gets maybe to the 1-yard line. The Eagles have 2 games coming up with a bye week in between, against the Giants next week at the Meadowlands, and then the Jets on October the 14th. And they don't really have to get in a plane until October 28th when they play the Minnesota Vikings on the road. That's pretty good.
You know, in fact, this year they travel the 2nd fewest amount of miles of any team in the league.
2nd and goal. And 3 tight ends. Let's give it to Tony Hunt, the rookie from Penn State, his first NFL touchdown. So Buckhalter and Hunt have scored today, and Westbrook has 3. One as a pass receiver, and the Philadelphia Eagles have scored the most points in the Andy Reid era. They have 55 to Detroit's 21, with number 56 hanging in the balance.
Those will be 2 happy guys tonight. Marty Morningway, the former Lion head coach, first coach that Matt Millen had hired in 2001, and Andy Reid together should feel pretty good about this effort.
Head coach of the Lions, 2001 and 2. His record was 5-27. They love him in Philly, however. We'll be back.
Take my hand and come with me, because you look so fine that I really want to make you mine. 4, 5, 6, come on and get your kicks. Now you don't need the money when you look like that, do you, honey?
Philadelphia Eagles exploding today. Scored on the opening drive. Brian Westbrook went 25 yards to make it 7-0. Then the Lions tied it up on a Kevin Jones score, and then Westbrook again. McNabb hit Curtis, and that's all she wrote, as the Eagles never looked back. Well, Fox tonight, fire up your lightsabers for the epic season premiere of Family Guy. Wookiees and Womp Rats will never be the same. Tonight at 9, 8 Central. The farce will be with you only on Fox. Viewer discretion is advised.
And Donovan McNabb talking with Andy Reid, and we're going to see Kevin Kolb apparently make his NFL debut. There is Kolb getting set to go, and Kevin Kolb, who was the second-round draft pick, first player drafted by the Eagles out of the University of Houston. Straight ahead is Brian Calhoun, and a flag is down as Calhoun gets the first down to the 32.
I guarantee you that conversation that Andy Reid had with Donovan wasn't easy for Donovan to swallow and to listen to.
Personal foul. Face mask. Number 96 of the defense. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. First down.
Omar Gaither, and the Lions will get. And I understand where you're coming from, but when you're up 56-21, and you're not 100% anyway, and going without the knee brace for the first time.
He's still throwing. He's still throwing it.
Yeah, but to be reasonable, I mean, so he comes in. I mean, you had a great game.
Yeah, but these are the kind of games, you pad some stats, you keep it going.
Incomplete.
That's what they look at the end of the season. You don't want to come off the field.
I don't know about Jon Kitna. He may have other ideas.
Yeah, Kitna's had a, when you're in a passing offense, you're going to get hit. But John is a tough guy. This Detroit team, it's just the beginning. And they had this setback today, but they'll be competitive in the NFC North this year. And they've got too many good players. They need to get their tight end situation straightened out. They need to develop a running game here to give that offense some balance.
Well, getting Kevin Jones back could help that going a long way. Flag is down, and it could be a free play here for Kitna. And throws this one out of bounds. And it's going to be against the Eagles, offside.
Offside. Defense. Number 90. 5-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
Darren Howard. Andy Reid hasn't been a great time for Andy Reid either. He's had his own family problems that has been well chronicled, and took a 5-month leave of absence this spring and summer, and continues to go to work. And I think the Eagles are very grateful that no matter what happens in the other side of his life, he really pays attention and stays in control of the football part.
And he's got the ear of the players. They still listen to him. He still has control of his team. And that's what's important.
Pass to Mike Furrey, and a first down to the 39-yard line as the Lions trying to keep it going offensively. Coming up next, the Giants against the Redskins. The Giants have won 4 of the last 6 against Washington and really need this game. And it's the first time since the '96 season the Giants begin 0-2. And you look at the division, we know Washington has the good defense. Dallas looks like they have a prolific offense, and the Eagles offer today.
And we'll find out a lot about that Cowboy team tonight when they travel to Chicago against a very good defense.
Slant caught by Sean McDonald, but hit immediately. Managed to get about 4.5 yards. Stuart Bradley, rookie from Nebraska. Well, we told you Jon Kitna, who had over 400 yards, now sets a career high. 411 was his best up until today. 414 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and been sacked 6 times.
But that also is why statistics can be deceiving. Over 400 yards passing, yet they're going to lose by, 4 touchdowns here, 5 touchdowns. So, yeah, sometimes these things don't really measure out.
I totally agree. And there's the pass to Sean McDonald. McDonald wending his way and goes out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. That's why every week you look at the top passing yards by quarterback, and virtually all of them have lost the game.
Well, after today's game, Detroit will still be the #1 passing offense in football, unless somebody throws for like 800 yards here this evening or something. So, yeah, they'll still be at the top of the charts. But with that,
you mean Rex Grossman?
Well, that would make people in Chicago happy. But with that passing offense comes a lot of bad plays. So we saw an interception in the end zone. We saw some fumbles from John today. They have to learn how to finish drives and keep the quarterback healthy.
From the 18-yard line, and flag is down, and the pass deflected. Tatum Bell was the target on that play.
In fact, 3 of the interceptions that the Lion quarterbacks have thrown this year have come in the end zone, where you have a chance to score.
Offense, number 67, 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Lane Saipaia holding, so they'll move it back and play it again. The Lions, and you mentioned you know, they're in look. They won 3 games last year, and they already have 2 in their back pocket. They've got the Bears at home next week, and then go to Washington. And Rod Marinelli, besides looking a little slimmed down from what we saw him when he had his debut last year, he's in control of this team.
Yes. No, they've got the direction. They have a guy that basically motivates every day.
Here is Kitna getting ground, and he flips it out to Tatum Bell. And Bell is taken down. And I'll tell you what, the great thing about this game is Quinton Michael makes the play, and he's made several of them today. Both teams still playing hard.
Well, we said that there was a chess match that was going to start this game today. Mike Martz of the Lions, Jim Johnson of the Eagles, and I would say that Jim Johnson has gotten Mike Martz into just a check and a checkmate at this point. You know, because the way that thing filtered out, I think they were able to get pressure on Kitna immediately in this game. And as many yards they've thrown for, they've created a lot of bad plays that have gone against them.
Sent that message on the very first series the Lions had. Pass caught by McDonald. And there's a play made in the secondary by Sean Considine, who had a key interception. Talk about those picks in the end zone that the Lions have had to endure late in the first half.
Sean Considine, he's like the veteran back there right now as far as starts. I mean, Quinton Michael, I mean, this is his first NFL start, and you can't say that he's had a bad play out there today. William James, picked on last Monday night against the Redskins, has come up pretty good here today.
Kitna, sacked by Trent Cole. That's 4 sacks for Trent Cole today. Huge day for him.
Dick, we've been talking about Trent Cole's move. I think we'll have an opportunity to see it here against another offensive tackle, Scott. And he just has this ability to dip his shoulder and to get underneath the tackle, to get low, and here he comes. He's going to be coming from the left side of your screen. You see how low he was right there? He's basically crawling along a curb, going for the quarterback's leg, but not everybody can do that. They don't have that kind of a balance to do it, and he does.
That's the 8th sack by the Eagles. So again, check mark for Jim Johnson. Even though this game has long been put away. 4th down and 23. 4th down, and the pass thrown underneath to Tatum Bell. And he's tackled at the 20, where the Eagles will take over on downs. I'm going to ask you a very tough question here, and that is, will we ever see the Eagles wear these uniforms again this season?
Well, they would be smart to take them up to the Giants game next week. That would be the smart thing to do. I think people are going to like these uniforms.
What about later in the year when they play Dallas? What about
Well, they would love to save 56 points for the Cowboys. I mean, that's
the
Eagles rivalry. But I mean, Kevin Cobb here coming in, he makes his NFL debut.
Are players superstitious enough to do that? You played.
No, because once you become superstitious like that, and then if you lose, then what do? You burn the uniforms. It becomes, a real catch.
Don't wear them again. First down at the 21, Kevin Cobb. Andy Reid liked him all the way out of Houston. And he is sacked back inside the 15 by Langston Moore. Loved just the way he handles himself, and in particular, his accuracy. That's what Andy Reid liked about quarterback Kevin Cobb. Final numbers on the McNabb. Was 21 for 26, 382 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions.
It's just a brilliant day. And we've seen that so many times from Donovan McNabb during his 9-year history, where when he's been down, he's been able to come back time after time again.
Tony Hunt with the carry. No gain on the play.
And we talked to Rod Marinelli about Donovan McNabb yesterday at length, and he said, he's still the leader of the team. He's a strong, tough guy, tough-minded guy, and he's in his 9th year with the same head coach, the same offensive tackles, the same playbook. And so there's a comfort level that they have there.
Well, let's take a look at what went on at halftime, and it was the celebration of the players that made the 75th anniversary All-Eagle team. And
a lot of familiar faces. Clyde Simmons, 96 there. Eric Allen, 21.
Harold Carmichael.
Keith Byers. Great receiver.
Wilbert Montgomery would be one, and of course he is the Detroit Lions running backs coach.
So Concrete Chuck down there. And McNabb is the quarterback on that 75th anniversary team of the Eagles.
Andy Reid's the coach.
Andy Reid is the coach.
Jeff Lurie.
Jeff Lurie, the owner.
The best owner in this. Oh,
best
no,
owner.
I don't know if they voted that, but Jeff has been a great, owner here. As tell you what, the fans have had to really enjoy what the Philadelphia Eagles have been. Tom has it stripped away by Paris Leonard, and Idris Bashir makes the recovery, and the Lions will get it inside the Eagle 10.
Eagle fans have given Kevin Kolb a little bit of a taste, the ones that are left, of throw the football. Get it out of your hands. They don't want to see anybody giving up fumbles like that by holding the ball.
You can use this, you can say, well, this is old hat or cliche. The Eagles have played hard throughout the game, and they've been down by a lot of points. They have never
the Lions
stopped
have played
hustling.
hard, yes. Now, haven't stopped fighting. John Kitna is going to try and get this ball in the end zone with everything he's got.
How about Green Bay beating San Diego 31-24?
Wow. I mean, the Packers possibly off to a 3-0 start. And the Chargers could be losing more games the first 3 weeks than they lost all of last season.
Here's John Kitna getting chased from every direction. And no other choice but to throw it away. And right now for game break, let's return to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles.
Arizona and Baltimore went down to the final play. Matt Stover from 46 yards away. And the Ravens get the 26-23 victory. That's after Kurt Warner had come on to relieve an ineffective Matt Leinart and led Arizona back from 17 down. But the Ravens get the win. Dick and Baldy.
All right, Kurt, thank you very much. So, good thing they have Kurt Warner.
Half the games last week were decided by 7 points or less in this league.
Second and goal. Kitna can't find a receiver. And throws this away.
That's a souvenir ball. Everybody's catching the ball in Philadelphia. Everybody's a part of the offense today in Philadelphia.
The idea, Jim Johnson said, is that we have to really be physical as we take a look at the catch.
That's a tip ball drill.
Who gets the souvenir?
No, that's a tip ball drill right there.
Akers
got it, yeah. No, that ball's his. And watch, he'll run right out of the stadium with that thing. Now you got to go celebrate with the other fans.
Accepting congratulations.
Sure. Now they're coming from all over to celebrate that catch.
Probably appear on a late night show this morning.
Could be on highlight reel.
Kitna. And he is hit by McCoy. And we'll have our 2-minute warning with 1:58 on the clock. What a day for the throwback Eagles.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
Well, it's been a throwback day as far as the old uniforms are concerned. Here is Kitna on 4th down. And the Eagles were not going to give in. And they will take over on downs. Mike Patterson coming in on the 9th sack of the game for the Philadelphia defense. And they'll take over on downs with 1:52 to go. So let's take a look back. A lot of numbers there, and you see the Eagles with 537 yards. Kitna in a losing effort, a career high. Roy Williams, a big game despite being banged up. But look at the numbers for Donovan McNabb and Kevin Curtis, and we couldn't even fit Westbrook with 108 yards.
No room, huh?
Rushing and 111 receiving yards today. Wow.
Like a pinball machine gone wild.
And Dawkins, who said this is fun. Brian Dawkins, who couldn't play today. You never would have known it. Most points in a game for the Eagles since 1953, when they also scored 56 against the Chicago Cardinals. And their record, by the way, 63 points back in 1934.
So it surely was a throwback day.
Yes, it was, in many ways.
Yes.
Many ways.
Delay of game on the defense, number 79. Actions not involved with football action. 5 yards, first down.
Unbecoming to the game. I'll tell you what, I think Gene Steratore really enjoyed announcing that penalty.
He wasn't sure exactly what he was supposed to say about it.
Well, the Lions, as we said, will come home to play the Chicago Bears at 2-1. And the Bears, as Brian mentioned, play the Cowboys tonight. Green Bay, the pace setter, at 3-0 in the NFC North. And the Philadelphia Eagles will go to 1-2 as they go against the New York Giants, who come up next against the Redskins, an important game coming up on Fox.
Well, Andy just took off his headset there. He's allowed himself to smile, enjoy this one as he should. He told me this week that he was very little sleep. I mean, coming back in from 12 o'clock at night till 3 in the morning, going back home, getting some rest. You know, the pressure, he felt the pressure to put this offense back together, and they did today.
Great all-around game, actually. Today's game produced by Bob Stenner and directed by Sandy Grossman. The associate director, Charles McDonald. The broadcast associate, Mark Schaefer. The technical producer, Bob Mueller. The technical director, Rick Tugman. The tape supervisor, Michael Nathanson. And the audio supervisor, Pat Lucatordo. Thanks to the crew. Great job as usual. The pregame show was produced by Scott Ackerson and directed by Bob Levy. The studio technical supervisor is Jack Simmons. The senior producer is Bill Brown. And the executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. Chris Visser's our spotter. Rick Odioso on the stats. Mike Eldridge and Fitz Ollison doing the job on numbers in the truck. And a big day as the Eagle defense and offense both dominate. 9 sacks in the game for the Jim Johnson's defense. And for Rod Marinelli, his team played hard. And that's it from Philadelphia. This is Dick Stockton for Brian Baldinger saying so long. Stay tuned for the second half of this Fox doubleheader. The Giants take on the Redskins right after these messages. So long, everyone.